right, this is the Iron Sharpening Iron Show where we prove we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. I'm your man, Big Jack, and I am so excited today to have you with me on the show. So I just thank you all for being here. And we got a special guest, and we know it's March Madness. We know this is March, and you see the college tournaments going by right now. You see those college basketball players, men and women, trying to find a way into the tournament. And because of that, we said, hey, let's just put a show together, focusing somewhere on one, our kids, and the other part is going to be focusing on kids in sports and coaching sports, and then trying to get to that next level. So we're here, and I got my very special guest here today, and I want to make sure that we recognize him as we bring him to the stage. My man Brandon coming to the stage. He says a different throwback, but there you go. Hey, what's up, Brandon? How you doing, man?
That's an old little title, but yeah, man. What's up, man?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm glad to see you here on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show, and I'm super excited to have you here with me today.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. So, but what we do is that we're live right now. So we're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We'll send this to TikTok and Instagram. And right now we got people that's going to start coming in the chat. So you're going to start seeing people come in the chat. And as they come in the chat, we'll make sure we recognize them. But we're going to have a good conversation between, just me and you. And we'll recognize. So right now, and I see Sharon Jackson's in the chat. She's saying, good evening, Big Jack. I appreciate Sharon Jack. That's my mother. So that's my mom. She's number one supporter fan. So my number one fan is in the house. And then we got Vibing with VC, and she's saying hi there. So Vibing with VC is out of Jamaica. So she's a content creator from Jamaica, and she likes to drop content on the island, showing us all the good spots to go when you go. So, a lot of people go and just be touristing and hitting the tourist spots, but she'll show you all the other areas to go. So that's another good content creator to get in touch with, especially if you plan on going down to Jamaica. So what we do have here, Brandon, is we're on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. And again, I got you here. And as we, people are going to start coming in, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Brandon?
Shoot, I guess husband, father of five boys, entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? Hustler, grinder, hard worker. There we go. God-fearing. There you go. That's me. It's easy.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So look, for those who don't know, and I know because and they're going to see they're coming in now, but when they start coming in, and we're going to see them later. But Brandon is also, he said entrepreneur, but he owns a barbershop. Yeah, and he is my barber. So this is the person I go to when I need my haircut, and he takes care of me. So I'm so happy to have him here. Two reasons. One, he just hooked me up not even that long ago and took care of me. But then the other part of it is because he is a good person. And a lot of things we talk about in the barbershop. We talk a lot of different things, a lot of topics come up. But one of them that you mentioned was that you're a father of five boys at that. So, man, how is it to be, I guess to say, have all boys? How is that?
Sure, it's dope for real. And I think for me, I never imagined myself having girls either, though, even since I was a young man. So I was like 12 years old the first time because I got brothers too. I got one sister and two brothers. And but I'm really tight with my brothers because I live with them the longest. And growing up, I always like, man, when I have kids, I'm having all boys like me and my brothers. Now, I ain't know I was going to have five, but you know what I'm saying? Right. I always wanted boys, though, still.
Right. Okay. All right. So now I have four. Now I have four boys. So I got all boys. So I understand where you're coming from with that. Was you trying to get a girl, or is it just one of those things that, like I heard you say you didn't want, you just wanted boys, but in somewhere in there, was you trying to get a girl out of the deal?
No, I wasn't. But I will say this, though. Growing up, you always hear, like, you want to have at least one daughter. They take care of you when you get old. So, he said in the back of my mind, I was like, having a daughter might be time just to have that little ace in the hole. But, nah, I never. And then my wife, everybody asked her, you don't want no little girl? She'd be like, nah, she used to having boys. So,
right.
Have it in the same whoop. I never thought of it.
Okay, all right. So, and I remember you saying you was a husband. So your wife, she's good with all the boys.
Yeah. She's
Hey,
doing.
that's cool. That's cool. So we again want to make sure I see the Gen X effect is in the house. How you doing, Gen X? And Morgan is in the house. And congratulations to Morgan. I believe he just crossed the big milestone. I think 2,800 subscribers. So that was a huge milestone for him. And
Mm.
so congratulations to that. Sharon Jackson made a comment that boys are easier. So and she would know, of course, she had me. So I don't know if I was easier, but I guess I was less of a headache. So I'll take that one right there. So I appreciate it. Do you do any of your boys? I guess I don't know the age range of them. So do you have like are they young boys? Are they older boys? How's that working?
We got 13, 13, 11, 6, 3, and then I have a newborn.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So,
Okay. All right. All right.
basically,
So
right, it's funny. It's even funny because when I'm cutting somebody hair and they're like, "Yeah, my son's in first grade." I'm like, "Oh, I got a first grader." Somebody else comes in like, "My son's in eighth grade." I'm like, "I got an eighth grader." You know what I'm saying? So we're covering a few a few levels with this. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, you can touch. So I do have a teenager, so I got that one, but the rest of mine are grown. So they're all grown. Matter of fact, they're grown with their own kids. So well, one of them is, and so I can have that conversation. Like I say, you can come see me when you get there, so I can talk to
Yeah.
you some more on
And
that.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
that's also a dope part about me barbering is that it does help me become a better father because every time I got somebody in my chair, I'm just picking their brain a little bit for a little bit of this. A little, I know all children are different, but especially we both got eighth graders and they're familiar with each other, they're cool with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to kind of run stuff past you in that type of way. Like I said, I might not fully agree with everybody's style of parenting, but just to hear it kind of give me another perspective. Like, okay, I might have to try that out one time. So barbering always puts me in that little right headspace when I am trying to gauge how I could be doing things as a father.
Well, and that's a good thing that it's almost like even the show, the Iron Sharpening Iron show. So you're taking that advantage of having, you got that person's undivided attention for 30, 45 minutes or longer, depending how long it takes to cut their hair. And if you know a little bit about them and if they can give you any insight and vice versa, if you can give them some insight, because I know there's times that they're probably coming to you looking for advice saying, hey, can you help me? Especially say a mom come in the house, in the barbershop with their son or to get their hair cut, and it's like, hey, can you can you talk to him while you got him in the chair for 30 minutes or something like that? I don't know if that ever happens, but I'm just imagining it.
It happens here and there. It don't happen as frequent as some people might think because it's a lot more fathers that are taking these sons to the barbershop than when I was coming up. So most of the time you might see, but yeah, there is a moms that, especially if their sons is not really acting right. But sometimes for me, when I am addressing that kid that's in the chair, and I'm telling them what their mom had told me about them, it is a little easier too for me because I talk to so many kids too. So I'm
Mm.
also able to like connect a little bit smoother than the next person. I'm like, if I talk to them like, your mom said you was tripping in school, your grades ain't right, and I'll be like, I ain't your dad, I ain't your, you know what I'm saying? But I will tell you, hey man, you want your life to be easier, so I kind of be like, I kind of know how to get down to their level in a certain way just so they can hear me a little bit. They might not, you know what I mean, fully buy in, but I can bend their ear a little bit easier though.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think again, one, you have boys, so like one, we've been there. Like, and that's why I can try to tell my kids, I've been there. I understand. I've been your age. You
Mhm.
haven't been mine, but I've been your age.
Yeah.
And then by having kids, you can see what they're going through. You can see some of the struggles, some of the deflections that's out there. Like I say, that we're in a social media world now where every kid pretty much got a cell phone, got some type of gaming system, got this and that. So pretty much what's distracting them and what's causing them friction. So you can address that thing because once you tell a kid that and they hear you, oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about, that right there, it changes the tone. They listening now because you're saying you're talking my language. You're not just saying, because they don't think adults know anything. Well, you don't know nothing. But when you
Funny
mention some things, go ahead.
because even the kids in my chair are way more likely to hear me than my sons in that type of way as far as knowing what I'm talking about. Because I'm like, bro, when I talk to my sons, I guess because they hear me correcting them so much,
Mhm.
certain things is already going. built a slight wall just mentally anyway, because oh, here we go again. So they already kind of not as receptive initially. But I be trying to tell my sons the same thing, like, bro, like, I understand, bro, because I be trying to tell them, you don't get my jokes. Sometimes I'm like a little ahead of them because I treat my sons like men. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I talk like I would talk to anybody that I would consider trying to become a man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I know I'm a little bit ahead of them when I'm talking to them, but then I run it back. They'll get it. They get it.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I can promise you this. As growing up myself and even having kids, they're not going to hear from you. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like Charlie Brown's teacher when you're talking. You just hearing womp. But when someone else say the exact same words, and they it's almost like, oh wow, the light bulb clicks on and they're doing it. It's like, wait a minute, I just said the same thing, but it's not because they don't hear what you're saying. It's like you say, it's just who's delivering it. So sometimes it's like you're fussing, you're fussing at me.
It's so crazy to say, but that still annoys me. Even though I know that they're not, that's the typical saying. It's like they're going to hear the outside world before they hear you. It still annoys me, though, because I feel like, man, I know I got you, bro. I'm your cheat code, man. Rock with me. You know what I'm saying? You gotta rock with me, especially when I don't feel like I'm like an old school type of dad. I feel like I'm kind of still in a nice little blend. So I hate when they don't hear me because it's like, man, I'm your guy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
No, look, you preaching to the choir right now, bro. I understand. I understand for sure. Because the thing is, you're right. When like I say, my kids are my older sons, they're much older, and that right there is like when I was younger and I had my first son, I was 23, I think. Well, he's 23 or 24. 24 when the first was born. So when he got to get in school and all, I'm still young. I'm still just before my 30s and this and that. So you like say, I can relate to what you're going through. I can talk to you, but they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that, like you say. Your boys, your older ones, as I say, I know not the newborn yet, but the older ones, are they into any type of activities other than going to school? Are they into anything?
All my sons are into something. I say this all the time. Anybody I talk to, don't care what the age is. I said, for me, I know about black boys. I can't speak on all these other cultures too deep. I can touch a little bit, but as far as black boys, I know a little bit about that or a little lot. Always, you got to keep them active. You have to keep them active, keep them busy. And so all my sons are into something. Like right now, they all in the basketball at this moment though. But they all play multiple things like soccer, baseball, basketball, chess, uh, piano. I mean, they in everything. You know what I'm saying? Now they don't gravitate to everything, but I always keep them in something. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Got you.
Especially when they're younger, you're still trying to figure out what their little niche is, what they have a natural talent for. I'm still in that mix. So basketball for all of them right now because spring ball kicking off.
Right.
So, and they all love basketball. Is an easy sport to love. So they're like, I want to play everybody want to play basketball. So.
Got you. Yeah, that's like I said, I started the show saying we're in March, and we know that March Madness is here in the college. The NCAA getting ready for their big tournaments, and all the different conferences are doing their tournaments and getting them out the way, men and women. And so we're at that point. So you're right; those spring games, the spring sports are starting to come in. So now basketball is phasing itself out. But now you start looking at the soccer and some of the football will start coming in and a lot of those other things. And it's not that they have to be sports. So I was just, like I say, I mentioned anything. So I know you said chess and piano and things. So it's, having your kids be active. That's one of the big things that you have to do. You would want to do as a parent. And I was going to say, I'm asking in a sense, because I know we have some parents that's out there in the chat and we want to make sure we recognize them all. But is it tougher now to keep your kids active, than it was, when you were growing up, or even when I was growing up? Is it tougher now? And some of it is I'm looking at it on the financial side, and then just the getting around type thing. Is it tougher? Is it tougher to keep them all active?
That's a slightly deep question, just because when I was growing up, I wasn't involved with a lot of sports just because, my mom didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in poverty. So my
Yes.
mom, she did what she could, but single mother of four, it was hard for her, and you below check the check. So you can't get, like, she wanted to put us in a lot of things. I joke about this. I'm like, man, I tried out for a lot of sports. I just ain't never played a lot of sports because I make the team, but then I can't make the practice. Mom
Right.
can't take it to the practice. You know what I'm saying? It was always something, so I never could really get my foot in the sports because of, I would say, poverty situations. But
Right.
now, me as a father, keeping these boys in the sports. It was easier in the beginning when I had 1 and 2. It was perfect when I had 1 and 2. I could take them to multiple sports multiple times. Now I'm at 3, 4, now 5. It's way more difficult. Let me give you an example, right? My second son, he plays a lot of basketball at a decent level. He's pretty good. So he's on a travel team, then he's on a school team, and then he might be in and out of some rec games. So we try to get him to a lot of things because we can see that he got a real good, he's really good at this area. But then I got my other two sons to get them to practice, and theirs might be on a Tuesday. So it gets real tough. His practice on Tuesday, his on Thursday. He got a Monday and Wednesday practice. So with that being said, my wife, I got to give her a lot of credit. A lot of credit because she can do the practice thing. She can do, pick up, drop off. I can do the training thing when I get off. You know what I'm saying? So it helps her a lot, help it flow a lot better with her help, for sure.
Right. And I mean, I'm taking my hat off to you right now for acknowledging your wife and her part in helping making sure that the kids get to where they are. Because a lot of times, like you started your story with yourself, a single mom. So a single parent, sometimes I grew up as a single parent situation, so I understand. And I was given the opportunity to play a lot. So, but see, back then when I was playing, they didn't have all those travel teams. They didn't have we traveled, but it wasn't all over the place like it is now. So it was a lot better or easier to just get to the closest rec center and play for the rec center. But even then, just having the money or having the fee to pay, and it was a whole lot less then than it is now, just to have that fee. I know it put a burden on my mom to have to try to help me help come up with the fees. I mean, I went to a football camp that was, I think it was like $600 for a week. And I know 100% my mom didn't have that. That was dang near the rent for the month. You want to go to a camp for the week? And I appreciate that she sacrificed, and so when I got to the camp, I mean, I'm out there trying to be all American. I'm trying to be the MVP because I'm like, I got to pay you back for what you did for me. So I'm walking, if I ain't come home with a trophy, something was wrong because I know the sacrifice that went in to get me there for that week. And I wasn't going to disrupt it. I wasn't going to get thrown out of camp and stuff like that. But I know I was going to come home with the trophy because, it's almost like I owe you because you did this for me. So, and that's so I understand. So
It
I
is.
appreciate you. Go ahead.
You have a single parent. You want to pay. It's a different hunger sometimes when you see what your mom did. You're like, no, I got to pay her back. That's a whole
Right.
different level of hunger. And I do want to say one thing too about, even though I said the being in poverty or being whatever, it don't matter because it's still expensive regardless. Like, even if you do or don't have it, they still taxing something crazy. Like, my son playing for this travel team, $500 for the session. Another one going to do it for $175. So regardless if you were in poverty or you doing decent for yourself, it's still very expensive to keep your sons active and competitive. So
Right.
the price tag, especially now, that's like a big topic with AAU basketball because they're saying, damn, they really stealing now. They stealing. You playing more for an AAU tournament than you are to go see the Wizards play with your whole family. So yeah, it's getting expensive.
Look, you just brought up a whole new you brought up a whole new topic. So I'm gonna take a quick break. We're gonna throw a commercial in here, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about AAU basketball or AAU sports all together. So let me get this commercial running, and then when we come back, we're gonna be talking. So this is the Iron Shopping Iron Show. Got my man here, Brandon, and we'll be back in a short moment.
Get ready to groove to the rhythm of excitement as We Be Jammin' Live takes you on a thrilling musical adventure. With a spin of the wheel, our talented musicians spin into action, bringing you an unforgettable experience of music, energy, and entertainment. From classic hits to modern tunes, our talented artists will have you singing along and dancing to the beat. So, sit back, relax, and let the music take you on a wild ride. Do you have what it takes to be one of the 5 to be on the next We Be Jammin' Live?
All right, welcome back to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Your man Big Jack here, and we got Brandon Underwood with us. The different throwback. He said that's a throwback. That's an actual throwback name tag for him. But 1 second, Brandon, make sure we acknowledge the people that's down there in the chat before we move forward. We got Peter Perg out there. Hey, Peter, and he said he said watching from 35,000 feet in the air. So. That's what's up. So we want to thank Peter for coming in and hanging with us today from 35,000 feet in the air. I know I see Sharon Jackson out there, and she made the comment, mine say I'm preaching. So she talking about me, I'm sure when I might be, she be, she used to lay it down. And it's funny because now I hear myself saying the things she used to say when I was younger. So, she knew what she was talking about. I give her much respect. And then we got Morgan out there, and we appreciate Morgan being here. The Gen X effect is in the house, and thank you, Gen X. Vibing with VC is here, and then it's me. So we're talking about we were talking about your kids. We were talking about your kids being in different activities and things like that. So, and then you made the comment of AAU. So AAU, can you explain what that is for us, or what does it mean? Or, just so I can.
It's a competitive travel basketball. You know what I mean? And some people think they're on the AAU team, but you make sure you got to be officially signed up on the AAU site. So if you want to check these teams, you're like, oh, this team official? You can go on the AAU site and see if that team is actually an official AAU team and they're not just trying to sell it a rec team. And so, yeah, we're an AAU program. No, they're probably a decent rec program, but they're not really in the circuit. They're really not really traveling. You know what I mean? So, yeah, AAU is just competitive travel basketball for the youth.
Now, just for those out there, that it's not just basketball. So AAU.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because it's the Amateur Athletic Union. So there's an actual union of athletes that makes up the AAU, and they have you have AAU track, you got AAU basketball, AAU football. So they have different sports that you could fall under the AAU program. But what Brandon made was definitely make sure that it is AAU affiliate if you're going to pay or think that your kid is participating in the AAU activities, because you could find yourself paying a lot of money for a program and they're not AAU. So, like, especially travel.
These programs in these tournaments, they play on the parents' emotion that, I want my son to be involved with whatever can seem like it's the lights, the bright lights. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they know your kid they know your kid wants to compete. They know you want to compete. So they'll sell it to you like it's something that it's not, though, for sure.
Right. No, and that's what's good. So now I know you said your kids participate. Have you ever coached your kids, or what do you think about coaching?
I love coaching. I actually love coaching for real. I coach 3 of my sons so far, but I've been since I had the newborn. I've been like off of coaching for like a year now. Damn, yeah, a year. I'm trying to get back by the summer. I want to be back coaching. So I've been coaching about 4 years, middle school and down. I did get paid one time to coach though. They gave me a little $500. You know what I mean? They did pay me though. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you volunteer. You know what I'm saying? I even though I'm hard on a lot of coaches, because I'm like you coaches, you got these young kids under your tutelage. Yeah, man, I want you to make sure you coaching them with the right development. But a lot of coaches are coaching for free. The majority of coaches that you see coaching when you're dealing with youth ball, they coaching for free. So I do take my hat off to a lot of these coaches because they're just spending their time. They don't have to do this. Some of these coaches don't have any kids on the team, and they be coaching for free. So I'm like, man, that's much respect.
Yeah, it is a volunteer service for, especially when you're talking the young level. Once you get up to maybe high school, you start seeing those getting paid and they need to be certified. Well, even the little league, we got to be certified. So, so certified to coach. But you're right, it is a volunteer service. It's you wanting to do it because of the compassion you have for the kids that's out on the field, and you want to see them. You want to see them get better. The thing is, it's real hard. I'm not going to talk about me. I'm saying you as a coach. What were some of the challenges you found as a coach when you was out there? What's one of the hardest challenges, hardest things that came across?
Managing the different personalities, especially when I'm dealing with middle school and younger. You don't want to be too hard on these kids and destroy them. And now they feeling discouraged. They don't want to shoot. They don't want to do nothing. Now they all in their head. So it was hard to kind of say, I can talk to this kid a certain way, but I can't talk to him that way. I can expect out of him X, Y, and Z. I know how to finesse him. So, but Barbara helped me with coaching too, because, trying to get kids to sit still and to be, saying, hold on, I got you. Some kids, you're like, hold on, man, sit still, man. You can do that with some kids. Man, sit still, what you doing, man? And some kids are like, hold on now. Stay still, I got you. We're going to be 5 more minutes. So it's like, that's the part that was kind of difficult to kind of gauge because I'm very competitive. So when I see a kid about to cry, acting soft, I'm like, man, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm in that time. I want to get like that, but then I'm like, nah. Because if I say it like that to him, he's not going to be able to be coached. I can tell he's going to block me out.
Right. Yeah. And that's 100%. You hit that thing right on the head. So I find it real hard when I've coached a little bit. I coach a little bit with my older kids and even all of my kids. So with all of that, it gets to my hardest part on the field was the parents. The parents are the hardest ones to deal with. I had to make sure that we talk to the parents before the season even started. Like, hey, this is let me coach, let me try, because the kid is going to listen to their parent before they listen to you, even though they say they don't listen to me. But get on that field and see how much they listen to you, and you're telling them to run or telling them to jump or shoot or whatever. They're listening to you. They're listening to you before they'll listen to the coach. But then on the other side of that, you're trying to teach them the fundamentals of the game. You're trying to teach them things that's going to take them to the next level, because you want them to get better. You want them, when you're playing, 6 and under, 7 and under YMCA basketball, you can do this, but you're not going to be able to do this when you get to middle school and high school. So I got to give you the foundation. I got to give you the basics so that you can get this thing down. And a lot of parents, and even being a competitive coach, we don't catch that because we want to win. It's all about the win. But at the same time, the win is when that kid can go to the next level. When that kid can actually say, okay, I'm ready to go to middle school and play. I'm ready to go to high school and play, and maybe get to the college level. That's a win. That's a win for those volunteer coaches. Okay.
I'm glad you said that, because I always thought I start off like that when I'm coaching. I'm always like, when I get the group, I huddle them in. I'm always saying, hey, look, I'm coaching you to make you better for your next coach. I'm only going to have you for so long. Mm-hmm. So I want you to gain whatever you can get out of this. So when your next coach gets you, you're ready. You're prepped for that next level. Like, so it's levels to it for me. It's like, for this level, I want to make sure you're ready for that next level. Right. This is about, I do like to win. Let's not get it twisted, because if you got a choice, if you got to win or lose, I'm always choosing win. So it's all I want to win. But like you said, the win for me is the development. It's like I want to feel happy that by the time I got the most out of you while you was with me for your next coach.
Right. No, and that's a good thing. So here's a good one for you, Brandon. Student or athlete? What comes first?
Oh, student athlete, student first, student. All my and I got to give my sons a lot of credit because I be on their butt about their grades, and their grades to me their grades aren't bad. They got all of them have no more than two B's. Everything else is A's.
Mm.
So they do real well. But even when they had the two B's, I'm still on them. Like, bro, if I look at the report card, right, and say you're in elementary school, you get an A, but then you also get the number, right, 1 through 4.
Right.
So you got a B, and then you have a 3 as far as effort instead of the 4. I'm on you. I don't care if you got the B. Even if you got an A and I see a 3, I'm like, nah, that means you didn't. The teacher peeped that you didn't give it your all. So it's like, but if you got the B and then you got the 4, which means you gave it your all, your effort was high, I can live with that because I know that you was putting out your most. You just got to be. So that's
Right.
how my sons is like, yeah, they like, Brandon, they got great report cards. I'm like, yeah, to you, but expectations, I think expectations build these kids. What do you expect out of these kids? Is B's, all B's good enough? It could be. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying for me, as long as you give me your best effort, I'm comfortable. If not, I got to see more, period. I don't
Well,
care what.
and that right there is the thing is that you do your best. I mean, and not just did you, like you said, you give it your all. Did you do, like, if you left some stuff on the table, if you left, and I look, and I can tell you this, and my mom's out there in the chat. I was not the best student. I was not the best student. So when I got in middle school, I had a really, really, really hard time, and it was tough trying to get that a B. Shoot, I would yes, a B would be nice. C's, yeah, that was in my level right there. But with all of that, it was the fact that once I got to the point where I started needing my grades, see, because I didn't have middle school sport as far as requiring me to have a certain grade point average and things. But when I got to high school and I had to have a certain grade point average, that's where the big turnaround was, because I am an athlete. I'd want to play. But then it's like, well, if you want to play, you gotta have the grades to play. Excuse me. And that right there made me focus and get back into it, because I knew I was letting not only myself down, but I was letting the team down by not showing up and not doing my part. And it's like, your part is so easy, like, say, a C is really not that hard to get if you just dedicate a little bit of time and this and that, you can get it. And that's where I got better, but it took high school to get me to that point. And I want to see what Sharon Jackson had to say. Like, seventh grade was really rough. Yeah, 100%. I'm look, she did, so I ain't gonna act like it ain't. She know. So I told this story before for anyone out there, and I don't have no problem sharing it. But I went through seventh grade 3 times. So 3 times to get through seventh grade, and it's 3 times. So 2 school years and a summer school year. So I had a regular school year, summer school, back to regular school, summer school again, and then I passed it on the second summer school. So yeah, it was rough getting through seventh grade, but after I got through that valley, huh? Yeah, after I got through that valley, I never looked back. So, but I appreciate those people that worked with me and didn't give up on me, and the motivation of being. So that's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm talking to you, and we're putting it out there for those who parents and do have kids, because that's another form of motivation, is having something to participate for or participate in, and then needing a certain grade point average to do it. That also gives them that drive to want to get on the field or whatever, or put whatever it is that they're participating in. But you have to give them some form of other incentive. Okay, you get your 3.0 or whatever, you can participate in that activity. That gives them some motivation, give them some drive. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. So I guess I'm saying you're coaching your kids, and have you ever had a situation where you was coaching them and they're in two different sports, or like you had like you said, I know you mentioned chess and piano. So was you coaching and had to leave or not be able to do one because you had to take care of the other one?
I have got caught in a situation where I got to catch half of one game and then ride and go to another game. and be like, Jazz, I'm going over here. I'm gonna take Booby with me here, or Brandon, that's just hard, to this game over here, and you're gonna have to stay with Benai on this game. I've been caught in situations like that. Nothing too crazy right now, because being as though they're age groups, when you're younger, you play earlier. You know what I mean? So if I had somebody in soccer, the game was like at 9:30, the next guy's game was at 11:30, and I've been fortunate in ways like that where it's kind of been like that. It's been tight though. It's been tight a few Saturdays, but or you might have a situation where I had the opportunity to choose: do I want the league to be in a league that's on Sunday instead of Saturday? You see what I'm saying? So now I got one kid playing basketball on Sunday, one kid playing soccer on Saturday, other kid playing baseball on Saturday. You see what I'm saying? So I've been like that before too. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not on that level though. I know, because like I said, my fourth one, he starts soccer in the summer. So it's going to be a whole new dynamic. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Yeah. I don't. I'm not gonna say envy or not. I don't, because it sounds like you got a lot of stuff going on. Plus, you got a full-time business to run. So not only that, you got a business to run as well. So that makes it even tougher. And again, I know you mentioned your wife and how much she participates and help get them around. So I'm gonna hit this chat group real quick. Sharon Jackson still here hanging with us. Ed Z, hey, how you doing? And thank you for being with us today. Peter Perg from 35,000 feet in the air saying hello. Morgan, thank you. Gen X Effect and Vibing with VC. We thank you for being here on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. We got my man Brandon here. We're just talking. We're talking about raising our kids. He got all boys. I got all boys. He talking about sports. And it's not just about sports, because I heard the piano in there. So it's who's the piano player? Which one is the piano player?
None of them are the piano player, but they're in. So I got my oldest is in. He's did lessons a few times, about 2 or 3 years ago. But we just signed him back up for the high school. So we take a piano 1-on-1 going into high school. So So he's been on and off with the keys. My brother, he plays the piano as well. So he's trained him a few times. We've had outside online courses, but now he's going to be taking that course in high school in 9th grade. Also, he did, and I've had him in like coding for the summer. You know what I'm saying? I've had him in chess for a summer, martial arts, boxing. It's some things out here, because that's what I like about Frederick though. Frederick has a great community for the youth in like sports, activities, families. They have some things for you. What's the Frederick Post? Is the Frederick Post? What is it?
Right. The newspaper. Yeah. All
so
right. No, that's what's up. And Vibing VC, thank you for stopping through, and have a blessed rest of your day. And thank you for being here with us for the time that you were. So the thing is, are you a musician? Have you done any of those things, or you heard you said your brother, but what about yourself?
Nah, I dabble in a few instruments, but never mastered any of them. The longest stretch I had with an instrument was I played drums for a church for like 2 years. I played drums for church for like 2 years, the congos for a little bit. My brothers, they play the drums and the piano and they sing. And so I've been around music my whole life. My mom sang choir director thing. So music is like a big part of, who I am. Music is a big part of who I am, because I just enjoy all types of music, all types of instruments. I tried the saxophone, tried the organ. I just never tried the guitar. My mom bought me one. I just never stuck to any of them. And that's one. I'm glad that I said that, because that's what I wanted to get for my sons is consistency in something. I don't know, like for my oldest, I'm still trying to find that. You know what I'm saying? That's why we tried so many things. I'm still trying to find, but finding a level of consistency to keep them in basketball and soccer. We did boxing for a year. So that's tough too, but I want to open that door for them. Consistency. Yeah.
Right. And that's one of the big things. It's almost like what we're going through here, and you're looking at on YouTube. We're content creators. We're trying to find that niche, or the niche. What is the thing? What is that one thing that's going to put you to the top, that's going to stand out? And when you're young, you don't know. And the difference is, as you said, your oldest. And that's the harder one because the oldest one is the one that's a lot of trial and error. You're trying a lot more on the oldest one, and the youngest ones they'll take on to something that the other one was doing, and they like basketball, or they like this, or they like that, and they'll master. Where the older one might be like struggling in certain areas because that's like the trial, that's the test person, that's the one that's trying to figure it out. So like I didn't have any older siblings, which was a good thing. So I don't have older siblings, but I looked at my aunts and I looked at my uncles and I saw their trophies on the wall. I saw their trophies on the stand. And then that was my motivation. Like, oh, I'm counting trophies. Like, how many you got? 1, 2, 3, 7. Okay, I need 13 trophies to beat
Yeah.
this person. I need 20 trophies to beat this person.
So,
So that was like a motivation to say, hey, if nothing else, I'm gonna get that. But the more and more I was trying to get them, the more activities I was getting into, and I started getting into baseball and football and basketball, soccer, tennis, golf. I mean, bowling. All these different things started coming up because of the fact that these are the things I saw other people doing. So the younger number 2, number 3, number 4, they'll become better because number 1 has tried all of this stuff. Those basketballs are still laying around the house. The football still laying around the house. Guitars staying around the house. All those things that number 1 tried is still sitting in the closet somewhere, and the little ones ain't got nothing to do. They go get it, and bam, and they're great, And it's like, where did this come from? Well, it came from the first one. The first one, we ran so many tests on that the other ones just fell in line with it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. No, because I mean, I got 4. So, and my oldest one is the musician of the group. So he's the one that I can't carry a tune in a bucket. So so I'm telling you like that. So it's not like I'm a singer. I don't play any instruments. I tried the saxophone, so I did try that, and I did even try the keyboard. One of them keyboards that they teach you how to play with the lights.
Yeah,
The lights
sure.
come up on, and you can tell hit this key.
Yeah,
But I can't type without looking at my fingers. So how to play the piano looking at my fingers. I can't read the notes if I got to look at my fingers. So
exactly.
that was one of my biggest struggles. I had to look at my fingers to play, and so now I can't read the music on the sheet if I'm looking at my fingers, and it just made it. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm glad that they. My oldest son, I'm glad that he is a musician and he can play. I think he's like say 9 or 10 different instruments that he play, if not more. And he's really good at what he does. So, and he was an athlete. He played baseball, he played football, he did all that, but he more gravitated towards the music. Where number 2 is all about the sport. He want to run, he want to be the All American, he want to be this, he want to be that, and it's like, okay, that's what's up. And it's a good thing that but it was that motivation. I believe a lot of it was from watching number 1 do certain things and being in the stands watching them play, help them get up and get on the field.
It's definitely easy to see too, like seeing number 2 and 3 and 4 and see how they adapt to stuff. It's crazy. Like they have a way less sense of fear. Like they're way more willing to jump out there, way more willing to fall, way more willing to run through a wall as they get, because they, like you said, they see it. They're like, oh, I want to jump, I want to run, I want. So I see that it's so much easier for everyone out there to just adapt. They can adapt for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's a good thing. So I definitely, I would say, hey, continue to, and I know you are, continue to work with number 1, your oldest son, and then he'll find that thing. You like I say, it's nothing to say you got to find it at 13, 14 years old. It's just knowing that you're getting ready to leave middle school or getting ready to go into high school, and it's going to be a whole new world of stuff to do, a whole new set of clubs, and
No,
and
I told him too, because going into this to 9th grade, I wanted him to take on electives and courses that can actually benefit him long term, even if he doesn't stick to it. It's like I wanted him to do the piano just so you can have that experience and say, at least I tried the piano, at least I do know what a chord is, and I do know what a C sharp is, and I want them to, you know what I'm saying? That can still carry longer than if you don't stick to the piano. So I want him to get 9th grade, because a lot of things are mandatory to have to choose in 9th grade. So the things that you can choose as like a free elective, I want them to be an elective that they can really plant something in them early, more so than just something frivolous. You know what I
No,
mean?
I got you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he decided he wants to play the piano, and he tell you, "I need one." You're gonna, I guess, go out and buy a piano for the house.
Piano. So if he can get, you know what I'm saying, if he can really get the going, we can get a piano that's more substantial. You know
Oh
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Little $150 piano, nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? But if he get a little more in tune, we might can step it up.
No, no, I got you. No, that's what's up. Because I know the more things they get into, the more things you have to. I don't say you have to purchase, but if you
Yeah,
want them to be good at it,
anything if I don't see that you locked in, you got to show me you locked in first. Like
right,
I
right.
got that thirst in you already before we just start. That's what I had to. I made a crossroad with my oldest son because yeah, you want to play a lot of things, but are you gonna lock into any of them? Like we can sign
Mm,
you up. We gonna keep wasting money though. I ain't
right,
never
right.
tap in. Like so, if he can tap in, we can always open up the door. But he got to show me that initiative and that thirst. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah,
No, that makes good sense, and I think a lot of times, a lot of parents raising their kids, especially when they're trying to put them in different activities, they get caught up in, like I say, it gets very expensive very fast to get them in, and if they're not going to hang on or they're going to drop it. It's like, wait, this was a waste. This was a waste of money, a waste of time, waste of this, but not really. I would say a waste because I say sometimes it turns around and it's like it's that introduction to it. So I would suggest, or my to anyone out there, instead of putting all that money in it, and trying to get the the platinum package, like you say, get the basic package. Let them grow into the platinum part, because if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. If they're going to make it, they're going to make it. So like I say, I had a camp, $660, and my mom sent me to that camp, and I appreciate her sending me to that camp, but she had already known before me going to that camp that I was locked in, that she could probably see better than I could see, that he got a little bit of potential. This kid can run, this kid can hit, he can throw, he's kind of strong. So she saw some things, because it was a big investment. It was a lot of investment in time and investment in her energy and all, and then to put me out there. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that because of the fact that um, someone had to, if she didn't do it, and like I say, if I had not went to those camps, then I wouldn't have learned to play the position that I played that got me to go to college. You know what I'm saying? That's where I actually learned to be a fullback. That's where I learned to run the ball. Because all my life, because I was a bigger person, I was one of the bigger players, they stuck me on the line. So you're a lineman, you're a lineman, you're a lineman. Now that taught me how to block. And so I had those blocking skills because I was always on the line, but I was fast and I
yeah,
could run. So I'm
yeah.
like, wait a minute, don't waste all this on the line. Get that man the ball. Let me see. And it was that camp that and because it was so expensive, because it was a full contact camp. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like I was just going there playing flag. I was out there hitting with other people that was good, better than I was, and I'm competing with them. So that's what it was. It was good. It was good. Plus, she's a Washington Redskin fan. At that time, they were the Redskins, down at the Commanders, and she was a fan. And it was the Art Monk football camp. So she was all, she was all in favor of sending me to a football camp where I'd be around a bunch of Redskins. So that was part of it too. Yeah, yeah, that was part of it too. So it was all good. That's all good. So but no, so now if I'm a new parent and I'm gonna get my kid into sport. So that's to say I'm a new parent, I want to get my kids into sport. What advice would you give me as far as what to look for and what to look out for when we getting into sports or any activities with the kids? I know you said some things, but what advice would you give me as a new parent?
When you get your child into sports, um, it's you have to do a lot outside of actual practice. You know what I mean? You can sign your kids up for these sports, but a lot of times, if you're doing like a recreational sport, whereas though they might only have a gym once a week, twice a week to practice, or a field available that you can practice once or twice a week, that's not enough. Go with your brothers, okay? But sorry about that. So,
No, you good. Yeah,
but
you
like
parenting.
you have to be able to do more work with your kid outside of what when the coach has them. So if you're not willing to do that, it's the expectations are only going to be, but should only be, but so high if you're not willing to, take them outside or send them to a trainer or whatever you have to do where they can get some work outside of practice. And you got to understand too when you're dealing with your child when it comes to sports. Sometimes it's not hard to tell, Big Will. I ain't gonna lie. It ain't hard to tell if your kid got it or not. So you have to see early, like, hold on. He might need more training than the next child to be at the level that I want him to be. Not saying he can't get there, but you got to recognize, hold on, he's not that naturally talented. You got to be able to peep that early and say, hold on, instead of me trying to force it, let me see if I can train him up a little bit too at the same time. You got to also know with your child, what you're working with, your personnel with your child. Just because it's your child don't mean he's nice. Don't mean he's vicious.
And I think that right there is one of the biggest mistakes we make as parents, especially parent coaches, is that we put way more on our kid than we do the other kids. We know that they're all out there. They're still all learning the game. But I want my kid to dunk the ball. Where he can't even shoot a layup, but I want him to dunk it because I expect more out of him. And that puts a lot of weight and pressure on your kid, because they feel that pressure. You don't think they do, and you don't think you're putting it on them, but you do. And that's the same, no different than when you're the parent in the stands and your kid's out there on the field. They want to impress you. They want to do their best for you. You're the parent. You got me out here. You're watching me, and they want to do their best. So sometimes we're not realistic. So like you said, you see early that your kid is not, the best player on the field. They're not the fastest. They're not the strongest, but you're still putting it in their head that they're the fastest, they're the strongest. And you already got them signing their next or signing an NFL contract or an NBA contract or a major league contract. And they're still trying to figure out how to, run straight or run without tripping over their own feet and things like that. So it's like, wait a minute, it's some work that goes into that. And I wanted to get into that while we got some people in, and we're gonna hit another quick commercial. We're gonna definitely hit that quick commercial, come back, acknowledge the people that's in the chat, and then we will definitely hit this next thing on the Sharpening Iron show with Brandon. And give me 1 second, and we'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Get ready to groove to the rhythm of excitement as We Be Jammin' Live takes you on a thrilling musical adventure. With a spin of the wheel, our talented musicians spin into action, bringing you an unforgettable experience of music, energy, and entertainment. From classic hits to modern tunes, our talented artists will have you singing along and dancing to the beat. So, sit back, relax, and let the music take you on a wild ride. Do you have what it takes to be one of the 5 to be on the next We Be Jammin' Live?
All right, we're back on the Sharpening Iron show. I got my man Brandon here with me. We've been talking raising our kids around and in the world of sports in that neighborhood. So not only we're raising our kids, and Brandon said he had 5 boys, I got four, and we're raising our sons. But then we talked about sports and other activities, so it don't have to be just sports. But when we got into this, we're at the level of the expectations. So, what are the expectations that people have for their kids? And I wanted to get I guess, a chat participation with this one, Brandon. So, I want to see if we can get some people in the chat. So, I got a couple of questions I wanted to throw out there and see if the people in the chat can give us a ballpark of answers. So, I want to ask you if they're out there. And we're going to acknowledge everybody that's in here. So, we got Dapper PH. Hey, Dapper, thank you for showing up to the Iron Sharpening Iron show. We got Vibing with VC, Sharon Jackson, Ed Z. Hello, Peter Berg from 35,000 feet. Morgan in the house, the Gen X effect. And then thank you for all y'all who are here and those who have come in and went out. So the questions I have and some of the things I was going to mention or want to mention and the questions that I wanted to throw out is the percentages. So what are the percentages? What are the percentages that a lot of people, we're going to say, like I say, put it in the chat if you know the answer, or even if you don't know the answer. It's almost like trivia time. So how many students participate? And Brandon, this is yours. I'm going to see if you can get it too. How many students participate in high school sports in the United States each year? So that's something to put in the chat. How many students participate in high school sports each year in the U.S.? So only in the U.S. So how many students in the U.S. participate in high school sports? But let's throw a number out there. Anybody put in the chat if you got a number. What's your number?
32.
32,000? 32 what?
At least 10%.
Yeah, no. How many students? How many students? Not percentage of students, but how many students? Around 1 million, 2 million.
Oh my gosh. See, now you,
all right. Nah, that's a tough one, so I'm gonna give you that one. That's a tough one.
6
so
million.
Don't put in, huh?
6 million.
6 million. That's a good number. Okay. So 8 million students. So they're saying 8 million students participate in high school sports in the U.S. each year. So
hold on. Don't talk too fast over that. I said 6, and you said 8. That's close.
I said that was close. I said it's a good guess.
I didn't feel it though. I didn't feel it.
Hey,
that's close, man.
No, I said you was close. So 6 and 8. I said that was close. So 8 million students. So now we're talking about students participating and getting to the next level, and we're talking about going from boys club to even high school, and we're talking 8 million students participating in high school sports each year. And now when we're talking about getting more into the travel leagues of AAU and things like that, where you're going to spend big dollars to get your kids. So that's 8 million people paying for their kids to participate and stuff like that. And we're talking men and women in sports. So I know Sharon Jackson just put it in. I think she put, 500,000, but it's 8 million. So 8 million is the magic number. And then now Sharon Jackson, hold that number, because look, of those students, so of the 8 million students, how many will go to compete in the NCAA? And that's all sports. So how many will compete in the NCAA? What'd you think?
2 million.
2 million. Now, wow. So this is what breaks a lot of people's heart. Only 400.
500,000. I'm with Miss Jackson.
Yeah. 495,000 will be able to go to the next level, to play in NCAA. And that wasn't even by division. That's just the NCAA. So that's saying how many of 8 million students playing in high school, only 500,000 are going to play in college at all levels. So that's where those numbers start to break down. That's why it's very, very important to promote more the what they call it, the education, being a student before you're an athlete, for sure. Because
piggyback off of that, I always tell my sons, we're not planning to go to the NBA, NFL. That's all icing on the cake. I want them to play the sport to get the most they can get out of the sport. I don't know what that is. That could be just high school. That could be an NIL deal. That could be a partial scholarship to college. But play hard enough though you can get the most you can get out of this. I don't know what that can be. But don't play for a specific. You can play to go to the NBA and all that. That's cool. But I don't want you to have no disappointment when you didn't make it. Because I want you to feel comfortable knowing that you gave it your all and that's good enough. Whatever you got what you deserved out the sport.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. 100%. So here we go. We're gonna keep going on. So that's the next one is Division One. So that was all levels of college, 500,000, all levels of college. Now we're at the percentage out of the 500,000 students. What's the percentage of people that will go, or students that will go and play Division One? And you can put it in the chat if you got to, or if you can. What's the percentage of those 500,000?
D1. I don't know. 23%.
23%. Ooh. That's it. Only less than 2% of the athletes will go play D1.
Out of that 500,000, only 2%.
Out of that 500,000.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's to get it to that level, to be able to say you got to that level. That's what.
And that's with some numbers though. It has a lot of perspective to this, and I'm able to use these numbers when I'm talking to these youth going forward. So I'm happy that you even throwing these numbers out there.
Oh yeah. So Sharon Jackson said 5%. So she's not too far off. And the difference is for Sharon Jackson, of course, she had a child that went Division One. So she got a little insight on it. All right, so one more, and then we're gonna go to the after show. So give one more. We're gonna go into the after show for a little deeper conversation. But all right, so only the percentage athletes to hit the professional. So how many athletes? We had 8 million. We already down to 1 in 57 will go to NCAA Division One. So what's the number? 1 in what to make it to the pros, from high school to the pros? What's that number? What you think? 1 in what? 1% is what Sharon Jackson says.
Then I gotta go less than 1% because
less than 1. Okay.
Then it's less than 1%. Then.
All right, here we go. Boom. 1 in 16,000 high school athletes will make it to the pros. And that's all sports. So that's not just football, that's not baseball, that's all sports. But 1 in 16,000 high school athletes will make it to a league and play in the league.
Dang. So it's crazy when you got that's the reason why some of these people choose certain high schools that got 5 professional athletes that come up out of there, or D1 athletes. They're like, hold on, well, you know something. If we can get 5 from one place to go, then shoot, we might.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times, it's who you know sometimes to get you to that level. It's not so much all of what you know and what you can do. It's who you know that get you that opportunity. I was able to go to a Division One school, but a lot of it was based off of being around a private school that had that formula down, and they were sending a lot of those schools. I mean, I don't want to take away from what I did on the field. I did a lot on the field, but at the same time, having them sending those schools down the road to say, hey, our guy's already committed to this school, but down the street there's another guy you might want to go check out. And a lot of them came my way because of that. And then it also, because a lot of the camps that I went to, instead of doing a lot of AAU and stuff like that, I went to a lot of camps, and those camps were being run by college coaches. So I was being seen by college coaches without being on the court or being on the field in a game. They was watching me actually perform, and they were able to work with me more one-on-one, and they could see this person is coachable. This person, listens to what I say. They're a good athlete. If nothing else, let me get a card or let me get their information. So that was a huge help for me. So I promote that more than I promote going to. And then you got to pick the right camp. You don't want to just go to like a little summer camp. You want to go to an all American type camp where they're going to get that exposure and be around those real college coaches. So you go to some camps and you got college players that are helping coach the camp. And then you got some that got college coaches running the camp. And that's where you got to make sure that you got the college coaches running the camp over the college players running the camp. So because a player can't get you nothing. Those coaches are the ones that's going to get you that next level. Yeah. So no disrespect, but thank you for participating. So Brandon, this is normally the time we go into the after show. So we it's hard to believe we've been on here for over an hour, and we hit a lot of things. So it goes by fast when you're having fun. We want to recognize everybody that's in the chat still, and as we go up, we're going to definitely go into the after show. And then there's a couple of people that I've already sent the link to, and hopefully they can come online and hang out with us for a little while. But let me acknowledge these people here, and then we're going to go into the after show. So I see that Aquatics News Network is in here, and he says, howdy, Earthlings. How you doing, Aquatic News? Hey, Sharon Jackson, and she was participating, so thank you, Sharon Jackson. Dapper PH, Vibing with VC. Ed Z, how you doing? And thank you for still hanging with us. Peter Purd from 35,000 feet. We thank you. Morgan, thank you for being in the house. And the Gen X Effect is still with us. And we got Brandon Underwood. He's not only is my barber, he does cut my hair. He owns his own barbershop. And he has 5 boys. And we was talking more on the raising of our sons on the field or in some type of activities, and we know for sure that it's different. That's not the only thing. You don't only just promote doing stuff, and it don't have to just be boys. I just happen to have all boys. He have all boys, but your girls, your boys, or whatever, keeping them active and doing different things is what makes it give them something to work for. Because I did a lot of that, Brandon, you don't know, but I did a lot of that when I was in college. So I was a cheerleader in college. So when I left Virginia Tech and went to a smaller school, and when I went to the smaller school, I was a cheerleader because they didn't have sports or things for me to do during the off season. So when football was over, and I didn't play basketball, so they didn't have anything. So I went out and was a cheerleader. So and it was something to do, but my mindset with that, and it's funny, because I don't know, and that's something that we could talk about. But my mindset at the time was, if my kids ever say they wanted to do something, I wanted to say I did that too, and that was the whole thing. So if my kids say, "Hey, I want to be a cheerleader," because I didn't know if I was going to have boys or girls, but I did know I wanted to have kids. So I was like, I'm going to have everything. Well, I want to try to do everything that I could possibly do for whenever I had kids. So that was my motivation for wanting to be a cheerleader. And so I held the cheerleaders up like you see in college and hold them up with one hand, so I did that. And then they needed someone to be the mascot. So I actually put on the suit and was, running around with the suit on. And
did you have food?
Yeah. I had a good time in the suit, man. I loved it. I love the suit. So yeah, so without a doubt. So I really had a good time. But I was doing it in my mind, and really was in my mind. I was doing it for my kids, and it was like, what can I do to help my kids have a better life? And my thing was, I wanted them to come to me, and whatever they came to me with, I was going to be open and understanding and say, hey, I've done that, or I can see where you're coming from, and I'm okay, or you're okay. And it don't feel ashamed about, well, I want to be this, I want to do this. So that was something I wanted to talk to you about. Go ahead.
I feel you on that because even I want to make this point too. I feel you on that because it wasn't just for me. It wasn't just about them being in the sports. It was really just about being active. Because, like you said, my oldest, right, he stopped playing basketball for like a year or two. So I still wanted him to be active. So what we would do in school, I would make him go to school, talk to his guidance counselor, say, what are y'all offering after school? He had to do the international club. He did the mathlete club, and that's when he also did the chess club. So it didn't matter what he was doing. I wanted him to just know that, man, put your foot into something. And even in school, he did the theater. It was just like, we're going to get you doing something. So I wanted to make that point where as though I love sports, and all my kids play sports, but it wasn't just about the sports. It was like staying active. Like even it was a shame because this year in eighth grade they took away about 4 programs after school. I guess they didn't have the teachers and they didn't have the space anymore, whatever the case may be. But that kind of hurt what I had going with my son because I like what he had going on last year, been in 3 different after school programs and doing different projects after school. I was feeling that, so I just wanted to make the point that just them being active, I just had to make sure that no matter what they were doing, we're gonna get our feet into something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's what's up, and that's what it takes sometimes. Um, uh, that you have to, like I say, having them doing something is a motivation, because I'm a believer of the idle mind. That's so you're giving the devil a place to you because I have nothing else going on, so I'm gonna give you something to do, and if that's the case, um, because you have something, and I want you to master at it. So here's the thing, though, because if you're not good at it, the thing as a parent, because I'm very competitive, so I try to be, and I'm very competitive. So if your kids do something that you're not good at, they're gonna blow you out all the time. So they're gonna, I play basketball and I'm not that good at basketball. So I know that if we was to get on the field or on the court or whatever right now, that I would say at least 2 of my sons probably beat me right now. So the other 2 I got them, but 2 of them got me, and so I'm super competitive. So that's one of those things that would bother me if they got me. But with that, regardless of all of that, it's just the fact that when they can do something that I can't do, that gives them, that pride, that sense of pride. And not only that I got something over you, but the fact that now I can show you, I can do this thing. I can teach you how to play chess. I can teach you how to, if you don't know how, I can do these different things.
Yeah.
And that gives them more of a motivation. They'll start teaching their siblings this, hey, let me show you how to play chess. Let me show you how to do this and do that. And then that makes the other kids be smarter in math, smarter in English and spelling and all those other things because they have that older sibling to direct them and get them moving in that right direction. So, but no, that's what's up. So, but no, thank you. Let me see what Aquatic said in here because it says, does the poll question mean sending them on their own at a young age to travel or just traveling with them? And the thing was, the poll question was about sending your kids to say, would you let your kids participate in travel league sports? And the thing was just the fact of if you knew about all the travel league sports and stuff like that, would you allow your kids to participate in travel league sports? And it's not going on their own because sometimes you can't go. So that's the part. So now if they're in a travel league and they have to travel, like I'm in the state of Maryland in that area, and they had a game in Ocean City was about 2.5 hours away or more. I can't go. I got to go to work. So now, what happens? Did the kid not go? Do you put the kid in there with the coach or with another parent or whatever? What do you do when you can't make the game, but they're in the travel league? So that's more part of what we were saying. So Aquatic say you got to stay busy always, and that's important. It really is important to keep the kids now say busy, like sports. We use sports. I use sports, and because it's March, we definitely use a sports theme because of March Madness and things like that. But it doesn't have to just be sports. But you want them, even if it's volunteering or doing something, you want them to be doing something. You want them to be productive, especially as they
Productive.
get older. Go ahead.
No, productive. I was just productive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. So now, are any of your boys interested in the business that you have?
Yeah, they all say they all say they want to do the barbering thing. They're like, I want to be a barber. I'm like, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? See, for me, it's like I don't mind you doing the barbering thing, but what else? You know what I mean? What else? It's like,
Right.
cool. I got you. I got the skills for you. Da 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 da. I don't want them to choose it because it sounds like it's easy. It's an easy choice because my dad does it. It's like, okay, he does it. He's making money. Da 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 da. Like, nah, I actually love this though. You see what I'm saying? I actually love
Right.
what I do. I'm
Mm.
not just trying to get, steal money. Like, yeah, I can. Nah, I care about this craft, so it's different. And if I want
Right.
them to care about it, not just do it because they daddy do it. So it's like I can teach you. I'm going to teach you regardless. Well, I want them to find something too that they got their own passion in. If they didn't know anything about barbering, would they do it? You
Right.
know?
Right. No, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of times, people do things because they see somebody else do it and it makes it look easy. Like you might make it look easy, so like I can do this, but like would you dedicate the time that it takes to get it done? And I want to acknowledge some of the people we got in the chat, and then we got a guest backstage that's going to be coming on with us for this. So we got Desi in the house, came in. Talking about rewinding to catch up. So that's good. Thank you. Aquatic News Network. Nisi Jackson is here. So Nisi Jackson, that's my aunt. So I got my mom and my aunt was out here in the chat today. So just letting you know that Dapper PH was behind the scenes listening. Vibing with VC was here. Ed Z was here. Thank you. Peter Purd from 35,000 feet was here. Morgan was in the house. Sharon Jackson, we talked about already. Then a Gen X Effect was here. So we're going to bring Walt on the stage. Walt been here before. This is not his first time. We're going to welcome him to the Sharpening Iron stage. And then we got Walt on the stage. How you doing, Walt?
My man, what's happening? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you fine. Thank
How
you.
you
Thank
doing,
you.
Brandon? Nice to meet you, sir.
How you doing?
My man, salute. Hey, great show, fellas. Great topic, man. I have a daughter who's 42, so I don't have the parenting part of the AAU experience, but my god kids and my neighbors, I mean, like my next door neighbors, have daughters who are grown now who came through AAU soccer and girls basketball
Mm.
and scholarships the whole 9 yards. And man, some great questions, man, because there's pros and cons to this AAU thing. And then I'm a guy that knows a lot of high school coaches, right? So there's kind of like a not a competition, but everybody's fishing from the same pond, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And different objectives. So hey man, great conversation, fellas. Great conversation.
No, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. And the thing is, one of the things we talked about, Walt, was how much it changed. Like when I was playing and when you were playing and doing different activities back in the early 70s and late 60s, to now, because sports was been around. That was there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
matter of fact, people don't know this. Hey, Brandon, just to throw this out there. So me and Walt met on the
Let's go.
pool table.
Here we go.
And on
Here
the
we
pool
go.
table.
Here we go. I'm gonna tell you
On the
my
pool
side of the
table.
story too, but I'm
I
gonna let them
know.
go first.
On the pool table
At
at
the
a
rec center.
local rec center is where we met each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Walt, he's a little bit older than I am.
But
Oh.
he was about that size right there.
Yeah. So, but I was on the table with a couple of my buddies, and we were playing pool, enjoying ourselves. And then this big bully came and took the table from us, and wouldn't let us get back on it. And that's how that story started. And
So I will say, man, with all due respect, one thing I love about this brother, he will not let the facts get in the way of a good story. So, hey, man, Brandon, you a rec guy, man. If you
Boys
want
and
to stay
girls
on the
club.
table, what do you need to do?
You gotta win.
Say it again. Say it so the people in the back can hear you.
You gotta win.
My man. So he wants his friend. He wants to play his friends. I'm like, you can play your friends, but you just need to win.
You gotta win.
I rest my case.
yeah.
Nothing further, sir.
Yeah. All right. So we can squash that there. But
No,
look,
no, no. But let's keep it going.
no.
So
But
what he didn't tell you is his father and I. His father was, God bless the dead, was one of my best friends. After that incident, his father and I became almost best friends. His father became my mentor because he was like 11 years older than me.
mm,
I'm probably 6 years older than Big Jack. But Yeah, man. So I just get a kick out of that, man. But
You still shoot? You still shoot? No, y'all still
hey, man,
shoot?
I'm a pretty good firehouse player, pretty good firehouse chess player. But I don't shoot pool as much as I used to. But
Uh,
every now and then, man, when you go somewhere and there's a pool table, I can hold my own, man. I can hold my own. So yeah. But
Look,
I
don't,
got some
don't,
real sharks out there. Some real sharks out there, man. My
hey, Walt,
eyesight is not what it used to be, man.
and look, don't fall for it because this is a he's a pool shark right there. That's a
Hey,
shark up
look.
there. Don't
Hey,
watch
look.
him.
Hey, Brandon. All shucks. Who me? Nah, man.
uh,
I just,
nah,
Yeah,
I
hey, man.
know.
Hey, man. If I walk in the pool hall now, I'd probably be the guy with the chalk marker on my back, and everybody be looking for me. I'd be the easy mark
Nah,
at this point, man.
nah.
Yeah, I'd probably be the
Like,
easy mark,
Big
man.
Jack ain't falling for it.
That's one of those games if you don't stay with it, man, you lose. If you don't use it, you lose it, man. Just
yeah,
like shooting free throws, I guess.
yeah. And that's
So
the
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's the thing. So Walt, you said your neighbors they AAU or have AAU.
So
So go ahead.
so my neighbors, uh, kids, two of the girls, two of the young ladies with a young women now, they came up playing basketball in one of the local DC area private girls schools, pretty exclusive. They played from the lower campus all the way through high school, and they played soccer. And I mean, to the point where they would travel so much with the soccer and the basketball. And I'm like, where we going this week? Because my dog and their dogs were brothers and sisters, so I usually end up with the dogs while they're gone, right? So where we going this week? And there'd be Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia, and of course, no parent will ever admit this publicly, and I'm certainly not going to tell you their names, but they were like, I almost hope they lose this week because we get to, you know what I'm talking about. We get to come home Friday or Saturday instead of having to wait here till Sunday, so that kind of stuff. But what I did notice, and this happened to my godson also. And let me back up for a minute. My godson was the first because he's older than both of them. He played, pop little league basketball, and he was taller. So this was my problem with the AAU, not problem, but this was my situation with his coach. My question to his coach. All right, so he's the taller kid because he's younger than most of the kids his age. So of course, he got him playing, and it's just basically we need him to win. We need this is not even AAU. This is little league, the Jelly League. All right. Then I'm like, okay, so if you just have him shooting, when does he get the fundamentals of basketball, right? So then next thing you know, fast forward, the rest of the kids caught up to him. So he was still good, he still had talent, but a lot of those fundamentals he missed. So they got him a coach because when he went to high school, he made one of the local JV teams for one of the local DC area Catholic youth high schools, and basically, man, by that time he realized he ran into some guys who were there because they were looking at using this skill set to get to college, and that wasn't his heart. He was burnt out by that, and that's
Mm,
what happened to my neighbor's kids. They got burnt out. They got scholarships, and one got a scholarship in basketball. The other one had a scholarship to the Ivy League in crew to row. But she was so burnt out, she didn't even want to do it. So she missed out on that scholarship. Parents had to pay out of pocket for a while until she got some, and she did get some academic scholarships. And the youngest daughter, who was very good, went to a college up in Connecticut, played girls basketball, and then she just got burnt out. And then next thing you know, man, she was in Miami. She's in Miami, and she's doing some modeling and stuff because she got burnt out because they started out like 5 years old.
yeah.
So they just got burnt out. But they have very good skill sets. Matter of fact, my next door neighbor played basketball in college. And like you, Big Jack, I always say, man, it's just a matter of time before she gets you. You know that, right?
Mm,
And he's like, I'll retire first. You know what I mean?
that's what you
So
do.
I'm just saying, man, like when the emphasis in high school sports is more so fundamentals and grooming good kids, but in AAU, the way the system is set up, not that it's a bad thing, but if you have the wrong person doing it, you can miss out on a lot of life lessons for the sake of winning because you got to win. Like my man that's an AAU coach, same thing. It's like, yeah, on one hand, it's like if I'm losing, I can't even get the kids that I need to get. But you just said, how many kids make it to the NBA?
Well, it said I think it was saying one in what was that number 30 something thousand.
Okay, but just think about how many kids come through the AAU program. So think about how many lessons if you're not careful, can be missed because you're not imparting those lessons, those life lessons on kids because you're teaching them how to win. And that's why now the parents are probably worse, man, because they're sitting in the stands booing other kids, man. Like, where did you do that? And
Well,
there you go, my man.
I
So,
well,
that too, where my son been on teams and
yeah.
parents on the sideline like, oh
Mhm.
man, oh, talking about the same teammate that their son is on, and now the parents are, why you saying that about my son, man?
There you go.
You said what? And I'm saying it gets like that. But I did want to touch on a piece of that was me having boys going into high school.
Right.
My dream would be as though, which I've seen, looks like a pretty good formula, is
Mhm.
the coaches that coach at a good high school and they have a good AAU program. So now they
Right.
got their son. I mean, they got your kid on the AAU program, which is a circuit team, and then their
Right.
high school
High
is a
school
competitive
coach.
high
Right.
school team. So I
Absolutely.
like how I've been seeing that play out
Yeah.
as of late. Yeah,
And let me ask you this. Think about this, man. Like, you have a lot of schools that can't even feel like a football team because the AAU they have all different sports, right?
hmm.
You have a lot of high schools that even some of the basketball teams, but mostly football, they can't get enough players, but the AAU teams are full. And then there's a lot of kids who just don't make AAU. I mean, let's be clear about that because it's very competitive in less spots, especially with basketball. So it's just, man, like if you get a kid that mindset, like we were wondering, like where do these young kids, especially these young NBA players, where do they get that mindset? But they've been basically raised as prima donnas their whole lives.
yeah,
Right.
So if you take a guy like yourself who's grounded, right, and you got that good barbershop mentality, you know what I mean? Because man, you a PhD in a lot of things, working at being a barber, man. I mean, you a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a social worker, the whole 9 yards, man. You get all of that skill that you use that whole skill set
for sure.
standing behind the barber chair. So if a person doesn't have that, or if a person that's coaching who didn't make the team, who now wants to be this mega coach, who is more concerned about winning, and like you said, a lot of them volunteer. So it's I mean, you got to appreciate the fact that they're there. But there's a lot of lessons, man, that get lost. I mean, because the wins are good, but the L's, and I'm not talking about losses. The lessons are the ones that are the things that really, really, really get
Yeah, I
people
think.
going to raise solid citizens. You know.
But sometimes like that might come down to the book that's kind of written for you too, because a lot of my players that I cut
Hmm.
that's on some teams. I hear a lot of sad stories about the coaches killing the whole process. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's very critical on the coaches play a big role in these young kids' lives
Yeah.
and who they're going to be and the chances they might even see. You know what I'm saying? Even especially if you got a coach that favors a player, and
Yeah.
it's like, dang, this coach is in charge of your child who's putting in a lot of work, but
Right.
he favors the kids. So coaches play a big role in these. So I guess it depends on the book that's written in your life a little bit too, because
That's true.
some of that stuff you can't even control, especially the area you in, or if you're a
Right.
parent not that knowledgeable of, is this coach a good fit for my son?
Much.
You know
Right.
what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
Look, this is all I know. I heard about this program or this school, or my son is in this district, and we stuck here or whatever. So
Hmm.
it gets a little tough for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest issues that you run into is just the fact that location, location is no different than running a business. If you can't afford to go to the private schools and things like that, then you are stuck in whatever program, especially if I can't afford AAU, but they got a rec league that's doing it. I want to participate. I'm at
Right.
the rec league level. I'm playing rec league ball. I'm not AAU able to play. It's not because I don't have the skill set. It's just because I don't have the finances to be able to play AAU. And
But
then when Walt on yours real quick is the fact that a lot of AAU don't have that grade requirement that the schools require you to participate. So I can play AAU, but I can't play in the school because I don't have the grade point average.
so listening to Brandon, if his kids are not getting fours, their careers could be in question, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
sure.
I get that. Even if they get to B, what about this effort? So I've had this conversation with people too. Now I don't go to the barbershop much, Brandon, but I do go for my beard sometime. And I got cousins and brothers and god brothers who have shops. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
hey man, I love a good barbershop discussion. But when you think about what you just said, you can't play high school because you don't have the grades. You don't want to keep the kid out of sports, but then you put them on the AAU instead of the neighborhood team, which is all about winning. When do you learn these life lessons? When do you learn that you have to be responsible? You got to be committed to your grades because, again, I know you see yourself going to the NBA, but understand, I need you. You want to see a solid citizen as opposed to, and hey, look, man, I went to junior high school with Lynn Byers. I was 2 grades ahead of him. Brian Ellaby, man, bunch of guys. What's the man came out of Bladensburg, Bill?
Daryl Bailey.
Daryl Bailey, all those guys came up. That was my era, right?
Hmm.
So, but think about how many guys that make it or don't, what is good, don't make it, get injured, whatever, and then they still need something to fall back on. And if they put it all on the court, and then guys that played at your neighborhood basketball court, they were better than some of the guys in the NBA, but just didn't have the discipline
Yeah.
to get there.
Or
And a lot of
or
that
did
starts with your how you were taught. And if you say, okay, well, I know you're not getting grades, but I'm gonna let you play AAU ball, and you're still not getting your grades, then what do you have?
yeah,
So
Hmm.
that's the
or the
balance that you got
discipline.
to, yeah, that's
The
that's the
discipline or
balance,
didn't
man.
know somebody. It's like sometimes because you don't know, I don't know somebody. If you knew somebody, if you knew the coach, if you knew this, you would
Right.
have an opportunity that you just wouldn't have had because you don't know them. So let me do a quick acknowledgement of the people that's in the chat, and then we're gonna keep talking. But Desi, I thank you for being here, and thank you for being here. Say 1 in 16,000 fundamentals should be focused future planning. So yeah, so and that's 100%. And that was the number, Walt, that you asked how many. It's 1 in 16,000 high school athletes make it to the professional level. And and go ahead, Brandon, what you got real quick?
Well, I did want to say that when you're dealing with AAU and the grades and all of that, it is
Hmm.
all about winning. But they do tell you that when you sign up for most of these AAU programs, they tell you, hey,
Hmm.
man, we're about winning. Your son might not even play X,
Hmm.
Y, and Z. So you do go
Hmm.
into most of the AAU programs knowing that this joint is strictly about winning. And like I said, most parents are pretty much thirsty for the same goal. They want to win too. So then they do take a back seat. They'll pay $600 just for the kid to sit on the bench because they want to say they on a certain team. So you do come into these programs knowing that this is the setup. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to.
No, that's not a bad strategy if you know
No.
if you're at the right school, because
Right.
like let's use the Mather High School. So I that's a high school I was saying that was right down the street from me. So I was a private school. So people was at the Mather. The Mather had coaches coming in to get their players, and they were sending them down the road. Like, hey, our players already committed, but there's players down the road you can go see. That's pretty good. They just didn't go to the Mather.
Yeah.
But the way it was that if you can make it on DeMatha's basketball team, you was almost guaranteed to go to somebody's college just by making their team,
So that
because that was the program. So if you was good enough to make their team, you're at that level to go to the. Now you might not be D1, but you got D2, D3. You got NAIA. You got all those different levels, but you were going to the next level from high school to college to play.
But the difference with the method is you had to have grades to play. That's not happening with a lot of AAU teams. And speaking
No,
of the
one hundred
math,
percent.
Adrian Branch grew up in my neighborhood, and his brother went to high school with me, but he went to public school.
Mm.
So, and one of my best buddies, his grandson is at the Mather right now. He's a sophomore. I'm not even gonna give you his name, but he's a sophomore, so he'll be coming around. Bill, I'll tell you offline.
Mm.
But my point is, the Mather still, like you, Brandon, stresses academics. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. And matter of fact, a lot of people don't know. I heard you talking about music. A lot of people don't know because one of my godsons came out of the Mather. The band is more world renowned than the basketball team.
Hey.
Mm.
Yes, he's a trumpet player right now. You can check him out. He's a pro. He's a grown man. So I tell you his name, Paul Bailey, the Paul Bailey Quartet.
Okay.
So hey man, he went to the Mather, and man, that's the heck of a thing to have on your resume. So I'm not saying back to AU, I'm not trying to say that it can't happen, but I'm saying you still need at least a public school, a private school has a board, a Department of Education or whatever behind it setting standards, right?
Yeah.
But the AAU doesn't have the same thing. So if you have someone who doesn't have that as a coach or chairman of the board or whatever of the AAU team, doesn't have that discipline, that interest, and then the parent is like, I'm okay with it because the sixth kid at DeMatha is still going to get a DeMatha education. Let's be clear about that, right?
Yeah.
But the sixth kid on the AAU, when he's done, if he doesn't have the grades, he may not even be able to get into the community college.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not careful. I'm not saying it happens all the time. I'm saying if you're not careful. But speaking about what you don't know about people, hey, Big Jack, how come I didn't know you were throwing the ladies up in the air, man?
Wait a minute. Let me acknowledge stuff. People
I'm
in the
just
chat.
saying, man. Go ahead, man.
Hey,
We got to get to that, man. How you
hey,
just gonna
I
skip
got you.
past
Hey,
that, man?
Desi, thank you. Desi said lessons, right? And he's giving that to you, Walk, when you said he was about the lessons. That was the L,
Thank you.
so yeah. And so we're talking about aquatics news network is out here. Nisi Jackson's out here. Hey, Aunt Nisi. Sharon Jackson, Mom,
Jack.
Dapper PH is in the back.
Good show
Vibing with
last night, Dapper.
BC, Ed Z, Peter Perg at 30,000 feet, 35,000 feet. Vibing with VC, the Gen X Effect, and Morgan. All of them have been here today while I was talking to Brandon Underwood, my barber. I know Walt was in the background listening. And we got we got a Hall of Famer coming on the board. So,
let me guess. Yeah. Can I guess?
Yes, you can guess. Go ahead.
Is it my man, Big Q?
Big Q coming in the house, man. So what's up, man? We got Q
There
in the
he
house.
is.
What's up, Q? What's up, man?
What's good, brothers?
How you doing? How you doing?
Hey, blessed by the best and glad to be seen and not viewed, brother.
Not viewed. How about that?
What's up?
Man.
So Q, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron After Show. And what we got here is Brandon Underwood, a man up there saying different throwback. That's a throwback name tag he put on. So, but at the same time, he has 5 boys. Five. And he also coaches his sons. And we're having a discussion on the AAU sports. And is it, we didn't even say if it was better or not. It was just more the lessons learned. You know, it's like if I went to high school or played in rec league or high school rec league or whatever, at least they have a standard that's going to hold you to your grades, where AAU doesn't give you that same standard. It's more about the winning and not so much about if you're going to ever be a student or even anything productive outside of the arena of whatever sport that you're playing in. Now, before I allow you to talk, because now Q can tell you this story, he can tell you, but Walt asked me a question because he found out that I was a cheerleader when I was at West Virginia Tech. He found out on the show. I said on the show.
So I mean, I'm just saying. I said, how did I not know that?
Oh, I apologize. That's not one of the stories I share a lot.
Guy. I'm just saying I heard about, and even your man Q protected you. And I'm not even saying protect you, but here's the thing. Let me say this and be real about this. Bro, that is an avenue for a lot of guys to get scholarships.
Oh yeah.
But but people don't think about that. And so, man, I'm glad that you mentioned it, because like I used to be a Wizards guy, and I used to be a Georgetown guy, and you go to the games, and you always get a guy in the audience. I'm not even gonna call a guy stupid, but a guy in the audience, too many beers, saying crazy things, and I say, let me ask you this: do you think he's paying for his education? Think about that, man. I mean, do you think he's? Oh man, yeah. Well, I mean, really, he's getting a scholarship. I mean, like, I don't understand why people are so insecure. That's why I'm just messing with you, because I know that's not your case. But like that guy that's throwing the ladies up in the air, one, he's surrounded by beautiful women, and two, he's getting paid to do it. He's got a scholarship to do it. And three, guess what? He may have lifting a 118-pound woman up in the air. He's probably not having the same bumps and bruises that you guys have right now. To this day, he probably has less trouble getting out of bed than you two guys have, and y'all play Division I football, right?
Well, look, let me tell you something. I'm not even gonna say it. But Desi in the chat real quick, and he asked the question: any pictures as a mascot? So Desi, this was so long ago, and I'm gonna throw that out there before I let you talk about my little cheerleading career. But this was so long ago. We was taking Polaroids, so it wasn't like it is now with the cell phones and things like that. So had we had cell phones like we do today, it would be all kinds of pictures and videos, and I could probably I'd be monetized with all the stuff I did in
So did the
school.
cheerleaders wear
But
like ankle lift dresses back then in those days, or I'm just asking for a friend?
no, they wasn't that far down. But look, they wasn't 118 pounds either.
My man, all right, got
Nope.
it.
Not trying to diss them in any kind of way. I was just strong. I'm just giving you that.
It's just good,
I'm
my
just
man.
strong. So I'm just gonna be
Boy
honest
had,
with
hey,
you on
look, the
that
boy
one.
had muscles.
Yeah.
Hey, Kiwi, the boy had muscles.
Well, the thing is, because I said, hey, Bill, that's a good idea. But then, you know, I saw our cheerleaders and I said, also, Bill is just stronger than the average guy. Listen, I could throw, no question. I could come around for the first two or three, but for a whole game, I told Bill, I
Yeah,
said, but bro, yeah, that takes Bill Jackson strength.
my man, Big Jack. I just didn't
Yeah.
know, man. I was just saying when he said it,
No.
I'm like, what? I was drinking water. I had to go change my shirt. I was drinking water,
No.
and the water ran down the front of my shirt.
I
I had to
can't.
No.
go change my shirt.
Hey, look.
Hey,
I
In
can't.
no way am I trying to diss them. They were look, they were
oh yeah,
athletes. No, they were
for sure.
athletes. The
That's
ways
my
and things
point.
that they could do.
Absolutely.
But you know what Division 1 turns down, Division 2 turns down, and all that. They those good cheerleaders filter down to those other schools. Just like you said, they
Okay.
get an
Okay.
opportunity,
Yeah.
and it was just one where you're right. You don't get a lot of opportunity for men, where they won't even try out. So
Right.
you see a lot of schools where the females are doing the pyramids with each other and holding each other
Yeah.
up and all that.
Yeah.
So when you can get, I think it was maybe one or two of us that was on the whole squad.
Right.
And then, like I say, and I even mentioned in it when they needed the mascot, that's when I put on the suit. So I'm in the whole bear suit, because we was the golden bear, so we had a whole bear
The
suit.
whole
I'm
barrel
in a
suit.
bear suit, and look, and I'm feeling the suit like a bear. I'll be just a big jacket in that suit. Come
Oh
on now,
man.
watch
Hey
out,
man.
yeah.
Hey man, that's a great story, man. And you know, hey Q man, you know, you told some good ones about this guy, but you never told that one, man. So hey man, I didn't know. It's not like it's a big deal. I didn't know, but I got to tell you, man, that's a heck of a deal, man.
Hey,
And it's the
Walt,
same
don't
thing with
feel look.
gymnastics.
Walt, don't feel bad, because Sharon Jackson, that's my mom. She said, I
Absolutely.
didn't know either. You
Wow.
know?
I don't know what
Hey,
it was, but I had said I do recall making the comment that Bill was one of the most versatile, talented guys that
you did say that, and you said it with a smirk on your face. That was
and
the one I was on, but I didn't think it was that.
I and with the caveat that he brought things out of me that I weren't able, to identify that I had based on his courage to be a standard barrier. Because
You
listen,
did say that.
he was a trailblazer and everything out there from being. Oh,
Big Bill, what haven't you done? Every time I'm cutting his head, he
Hey
be
man,
telling all these crap. I'm like, man, how many? Then the last time you come up and said, you already lived 9 lives. I
it's
already said.
like uh,
I said,
it's like Big Red. It's like Big Red in the Five Heartbeats. What is it that you don't do?
Right. But
Yeah.
look, hey Brandon, this is the thing. Now you cut my hair, and you talking to two of my closest friends right here. Nothing I tell you is fake. I tell you straight, and they can tell you. They can vouch, to the point that Walt just found out something that Q knew, only because it
Hey
just happened.
man.
It's not even something you talk about until me and you were talking, but it's just something that you don't even bring up. Like, hey, I was a cheerleader. It's just not something you talk about. But
Hey man, this guy, man. Let me tell you something, Brandon, man. This guy never ceases to amaze me because he's got this all shucks personality, right?
huh?
So like you look by him, you know what I mean? I mean, the guy is smart, he's knowledgeable, he's funny, he's very witty, and he's super duper competitive. So when he told me the name of the show was Iron Sharpening Iron, I'm like, man, that's what I'm talking about because he is super duper competitive, but he will train you up and coach you up because he's helped me with my golf swing just so he can feel like he beat the best version of you he can beat. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I'm
no,
like, like, hey man, he knows that okay, if if I'm having an off day and he gets me, he feel like I cheated him. You know what I mean? He feels like I cheated him. But if we going back to back, man, it's like two guys out in the parking lot slap boxing. You know what I mean? If it's like if we going back and back, we're strange, going back trading pars and bogeys and something birdies, sometimes birdies. Hey man, this guy is like he feels like okay, man, that's good. And even if I get him, he's like, hey man, that was a good one. You know what I
Let's
mean?
go. Let's go
So
home.
yeah, but when he came into the golf league that we were in, he was collecting trophies, man. He had a lot of hardware, man, and people were hating on him because he was brand new to the game. I'm like, bro, I've been playing this game 25 years at that point. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? And everybody thought, oh, he ought to be in a different division. He ought to be in a different flight. I'm like, the man just came in. You know, he just came. He just started playing golf, and man, they were hating it, man, because
That-
the one thing I do notice about say about this guy, and Q, you probably the same guy. And Brandon, I heard you say you were competitive too, man. What I do like about competitors, true competitors. I'm a competitor, but what I like about true competitors is that's what they do, no matter what they're doing. But that doesn't, but that thing that they do well doesn't define who they are.
Right.
Because once you can't do that thing anymore, you are no longer that person, and that's where you get your guys cutting corners, cheating, taking
Mm.
advantage. So it's like, hey man, if it doesn't define you, man, that's a good thing, and that's why I'm saying, man, I got, you guys, man, I'm listening to these stories. I'm like, man, you guys, man, and Quentin, and Quentin, you had a front row seat in his prime, you
Oh
Oh
yeah.
know,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
Look,
that was
yeah,
fun.
Q got things that my kids. So now the heavy hitters is in the chat now. So heavy hitters, that's
Okay,
my
okay.
son Brandon.
Uh,
That's the one that has the music band. So that's his band. And
so,
Desi saying heavy hitters that you're well y'all talking to each other. So but the comment that he made was that's true. We the sons still compete against the old man. So today I told you I ain't letting them win nothing.
hey,
That
but
ain't
tell him.
look.
But here's the thing: your father
Mm.
was the same guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, hey man, Big Fred, let me tell you something, man. We used to have great conversations because he was like, he's the reason I'm here today, to be honest with you. Because left
Wow.
to my own devices, I probably would have self-destructed. Wasn't a bad guy, wasn't a criminal, wasn't a crook, but man, I could sure make some stupid decisions. I could make some bad decisions, and then I could follow them up with some stupid decisions. But I was lucky. God takes care of babies and fools, right? But when Big Jack was bowling, man, Fred would be like, "Hey, man, he's gonna get me, man. He's going to get me. I know he's going to get me." And I'm like, "What you gonna do, man?" He said, "I probably just had to run him over with the car, man. I don't know," because he knew he was gonna get him. But just like your son
Mm.
got you, right?
Oh yeah.
And he may only got you one or two times, but he was poking his chest out like a peacock, man. I mean,
Look.
he got him.
2024, I lost to three of my sons in bowling. First time
Wow.
ever. Three. Three of them. I'm like, what the heck? They're like, man, you need to retire, old man. Like, oh,
Oh man, it's
whatever.
time, man. And here go the thing. Like the
hold
old
on,
people
man.
used to tell us, just keep living. Just keep
Mm.
living. So they're gonna have
Yeah.
to experience that when they have their kids, and then they'll
Oh,
come back
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
apologize too. So that's what
100%.
it is, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So, Q, with your sons, AU, raising them up, sports, did you allow them to get on the court, get on the field? Did you hold them back? What happened with it?
Well, with my first son, Gabriel. Well, let me say this. I always say that the reason why I got in trouble because everybody wanted me to name my first son Junior, and I refused to do it. And my mom really went hard at me. And she was like, I was like, but mom, that you named me this. Like, my well, let me give you, my name is Quentin Carlos Barnes. My mother's maiden Collins. So there was a a sitcom back in the day called Dark Shadows. And in Dark Shadows, Barnabas Collins had a brother named Quentin, and they were Portuguese. So Quentin's name was Quentin Carlos Collins. My mom was in love with that actor that played because he was a beautiful white man. And so She named me after a character in a movie, Dark Shadows. And but I told my mom, I said, well, mom, I said, you had your reason for naming. I said, I don't want my son me because I don't want to be overly pressured to try and 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 walk in the footsteps of me. I want him to, to be free to make mistakes and do what he do. And everybody don't, no one has the opportunity to say, well, your dad did this or your dad did that, and so on and so on. But anyway, I I let my first son Gabriel, he did pretty good in football coming up. Of course, he was in private school. He was playing private school ball, and so of course he was a lot better than in the competition. And but and it was because during the summers, he would be working out in the inner city youth program because I was running the youth program here in Norfolk. So he was developing sharpening his iron in the inner city, and then playing ball in the fall with the kids who parents are making seven figures. So
Wow.
who don't have the same motivation, and and it's myself, Bill, our kids wouldn't be able to attain the same veracity and altitude that we were able to accomplish because of the mere fact that it's difficult to train when everything is provided for you.
Yeah.
We were hungry, we were
Yeah.
starving, we had no other but through and by education fueled by sports. So, you know, the first time that Mike Tyson lost, everybody was like, well,
Buster Douglas.
what happened? Well, when Mike Tyson was first, when he trained for his first bout, in the Catskills Mountain with Customato, he was a starving kid from Brooklyn that was basically running from the law. Well, when he was training for Buster Douglas, he was a millionaire, and millionaires train different than
That's true.
starving kids running from the law.
That's true. That's true.
So, with my first son Gabriel, you know, I let him go through the process, made to high school and whatnot, and he got his first concussion. He got his first concussion in like I think it was the end of his junior year. So at the end of junior year, uh, that's when I got my first. I started first having issues with headaches and whatnot, and arthritis, just with uh, the consequence of playing ball. So I started educating on that as my doctor was educating me on the prospects of PE. I started educating my son on it.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, you're only playing football because you got to ask yourself, why are you doing this? You got to answer the question, why are we here?
Why?
Play, well, Dad, play because I want to play because everybody say that I said, hey, what everybody say, a lot of people in trouble. You know, uh, the hearsays and in the conversation of how great a person was, give you these great thoughts of grandeur and attitude of I'm gonna be just as great as my father was. Well, I said you can't compete against your father. I said, because what I done I've already done.
Right.
Said it's not going to be duplicated. What Gabriel needs to do is Gabriel needs to find whatever niche in life and whatever position in life that he can, assert himself in and do it, and not try to find, uh, not try and find the path that I blaze, because the path that I blaze is far different than the path that you blaze. When I
That's right.
worked, and I gave him an example, I said when I came home from school, a lot of days I didn't know if when you flip the light switch it would come on. They know if you turn the spigot, if the water was going to come out. I mean, we grew up in poverty. You know, we were so we were so poor. We were just poor. We couldn't afford. We were just
Oh,
poor.
now,
Yeah.
and look, hey Q, before you go, but now that was something that Brandon also mentioned, that not having. So that is that, and now because I mean you hit that topic, Brandon hit that topic. I know I said that same thing, being raised as by a single parent,
I was
um,
too.
uh, single parent. So all of I'm not saying everybody had a single parent situation, but we didn't have a lot of money. Like I say, it was paycheck to paycheck, maybe. I know my mom had to work one and two extra jobs and some of the things that I did. So, um, do you believe? And then I know Key, you was going there, and Brandon, here's the same thing. Walt, maybe you can throw in. Do you believe that having, because they don't have that struggle as much as you had that struggle, that it's that because we say I do. We look at the game now, and even the NFL now, and he says soft. So what made it soft? What made the game soft now than it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago?
Our generation.
Right. Yeah.
And let me tell you why. You moved out of your parents' house. I moved out of your mom's house. I moved out. I grew up. Well, you know where I grew up. I grew up in a 2 bedroom apartment. Me and my mom with a den. Me and my father still had a great relationship, but my mother and father were divorced when I was 5.
Mm,
But I moved out. My birthday's in November. I got out of school in what's that, May. I was in my apartment like right after my birthday, before Christmas. I was in my apartment. So my rent was $295 a month. Never forget this. But it was my apartment. It was my place. But if you check a kid right now, and I have this conversation with my buddies all the time, I'm like, so you don't want him to leave home. What are you talking about? So he's got a basement with the 60-inch television, his own bathroom. You got a kitchen downstairs. Who's going to leave that and then go to an apartment? And then it gets worse. It gets worse because he's working, but if you're not even collecting money from him to put aside so he can get on his own, his lifestyle becomes the lifestyle he has, which is really the lifestyle you provide. He's living that lifestyle. So now he has a car, he has bills, and he can't save any money. So when is he leaving the house? Or
mm,
why would he leave the house? Because most kids like, man, look, I'm good. Most kids now, and I mean, I live in D.C., so maybe it's different where you guys are. But hey, man, when I was recruiting for the fire department, I mean, trying to convince a kid that you need a driver's license was like, hey, man, I mean, I've been driving since I was 14 years old. You're trying to convince a kid, hey, you need a driver's license. So it's little things like that. All of the things that used to represent independence and freedom are things that they get to take for granted now. And then
mm,
of course, Q, you didn't have it as hard as your father did, and Jack, you didn't have it as far as you, and same me, the whole 9 yards. I get that, but we are one generation. Our parents and grandparents were in a real struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean a real struggle. I mean just civil rights struggle. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brandon. Go ahead,
Well,
talk to me.
that part, like they saying, this is what they saying nowadays, that there's only one real trench baby sport left, which is they say is football. They saying that
Okay.
now basketball is getting salty because you got a lot of these nepotism kids, which I'm not hating on. I'm just saying that's what
Right,
they're
right. I
saying.
get you. I understand.
So they're saying the more people, because now sports are getting more expensive, so now it costs a little more. So now it's the affluent people that can afford these basketball programs and stuff more. Now it's their kids are the ones that's kind of benefiting in these spaces like basketball and like I said, there's only one sport left where people getting it from the mud like they used to, which is still football. And football is only changing because of the rules, not because of the players. I don't think the
Right,
players
right,
are
right.
softer in football. I think the rules have changed in that regard. But
And
like
good,
this, you
good reason.
look at the NBA elites and stuff like that. You got all these kids are really like former NBA player kids or whatever. And now it ain't the grind ain't as tough for these guys. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know their particular situation, but I'm saying that
I
might
know what you
contribute
mean.
to the level of softness that they really get too many. Because you see, like in the NBA now, they're trying to push the European ball. They're not better than us, but they're trying to push them more than us now. And like so now it's like a different kid coming into these sports than it was say when you was growing up slash my peers.
But it's a catch-22 because no parent wants their AQ, a Big Jack, Brandon. You did not work the years that you worked, so your kid can have the exact same struggle as you. Let's be clear
No,
about that, right?
100%. You're right.
I mean, so but the
That
catch-22 is how can they get the lessons, the life lessons, and still have that work ethic? And
Well, a
Q,
lot of
go ahead.
you know,
Huh?
taught growing up was a lot of lessons do come from experience, though. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
good decisions come from experience. Experience come. I mean, I get that, but I'm saying like you we don't want our kids. We didn't work hard like we worked to raise our kids to have the same struggle that we had. Like
Yes,
our
that is.
parents wanted us to do better too. But you got to get that somewhere. You got to give them that other piece. That and then I just like I don't know what to do.
So wait a minute. Now I got a question now because
Mhm,
and I want let me acknowledge the people that's in the chat because they're
mhm.
still chatting on it. So Desi's in there and Desi's saying right. Now I don't even know if he said right to who's because
Who's
everybody got a good point.
right?
So so Anthony my time is in there thinking, hey Anthony, how you doing?
My time.
And Krista Flash is in there. Hey Krista Flash. And those who might have still been here. This is the Iron Sharpening Iron after show. We knew it was going to get a little deeper in here. So that's what it's all about. So those who don't know about the after show is to get a little deeper into the conversation. So here's the thing, though. So everybody in the squares, so all four squares in here said they grew up they was either in a poor situation or single family situation and this and that. Now, from my understanding, everybody that raised their kids now raised it in a two-parent household.
yes.
For
So
sure.
is it the that extra parent being there that made this change or what was it?
Well, let me say this. I mean, okay, let's talk about. Hey man, they have crime everywhere, right? I mean, now you got young kids. I hate to even put this on hip hop because that's my genre of music that I respect. But it's like, come
Going
on,
with
man.
going.
Come on, man. You a gangster slim. You live in like no. 8 Mile,
Your gangster
Eminem,
real name Clarence.
8 Mile, Eminem, the final battle. But I know something about you. You went to
Yeah.
Cranbrook, and that's a
That's a
private school, right?
cool.
My man. So, and Clarence parents had a real good marriage, which is fine, which is great. But the thing is, so you get some households, man, people are working so hard, and now even now, I mean, it's hard enough to raise. I mean, look, man, we all have uncles, aunts, friends, neighbors who influenced us.
Right.
Like, I mean, every neighborhood you go to from our generation, hey man, there was a guy that would be, hey, come here, man. What you doing? What are you doing?
Yep.
You know what I mean, right? And I'm that guy now. I know it's a pain to a lot of people, but I'm the guy that fixes bicycles on my street. And hey man, come here. What are you doing? How old are you? Where you working this summer? Because kids, man, are under the peer pressure that we had was one thing. But when you got to grow up on it, when you have to grow up on the internet, you have to grow up on well, you can't say Facebook because that's for old guys like us. But you got to grow up on IG, and you seeing these things, you think that that's the way it's supposed to be. You think they wake up like that. Everybody misses the lesson of how much work goes into it. Hey Q, and you probably the best example, man. When you out there throwing bricks and digging ditches, nobody saw. They see you now, but nobody saw that,
Hey, listen,
and you worked.
that's the truth. And the thing is that it developed work ethic in me that caused me it put me in the main in the mind frame of, okay, when I become a provider, I'm not gonna be, because my dad, uh, my 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 dad and my mom had 15 kids, 10 boys, 5 girls between the two of them. All right. Now everything was lottie dottie, was lovey dovey until it got to around my age, when I came about,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, it was time to move on, because mom found out that dad, like, I think it was Pete Rock, CL Smooth. CL Smooth said that the hottest cars, the strongest drinks at the bars, dad like hot women, cold beer. And my mom was the buying for. I mean, my mom was a janitor at the high school, at local high school, and she was like, "Oh, you on that, brother? Well, from this point on, there will be no penis between us." So, you know, so we live. We had to change. We had to change up. Whereas, and in the summer, she faithfully sent us up. She said, "Oh no, you going to work with your dad
Yeah,
up in Alexandria. You're going to work. You're
yeah,
going to work with your dad, and you're gonna live like a dog. And I mean, you're gonna live with him and work like a dog. And it helped develop,
yeah,
discipline, a hard work ethic, and a hard to kill spirit. My son during the summer are enjoying the benefits of that, in this day and age, because, I said that I'm not going to put my sons in the position that my dad put us in, where one income for 15 kids just wasn't getting it, you know?
man.
So,
I'm gonna tell you something, man, that a lot of guys don't know about me. And I've been messing with my friends, still mess with me to this day. My first pair of leather tennis shoes were a pair of shell toe Adidas that I had to pay for because my mother was like, I'm not buying, hey man, it was Chuck Taylors back then and Pro Kids and whatever. I'm not spending that money on any tennis shoes.
yeah,
So when I'm, 14 years old, you get your own summer job, right? You get a
that's
summer
right.
job. I mean, it's just part of it. You can at 14, you can get a summer job, and you're expected to work. And it's like, I mean, like I have this conversation with people like, well, where is he working this summer, or where is she working? Well, I'm like, no. I mean, like I know it's a different time. I get it, man. I get it. But guess what, man? I was going to neighborhoods. I was getting jumped back then too. I used to go hang out at the Go-Go's. I get been run out of neighborhoods the whole 9 yards. And I mean, I get now that there's more violence and more action. But if you don't get it at 14 and you don't get it at 16 and you don't get it at 18, 21, you grown.
Yeah,
When do you get it?
yeah,
And that's what I'm trying to tell people, man. So when, like, if I'm having a conversation with a guy at work, hey man, at lineup, and you come to work and your uniform is not right. I'm like, so I used to throw the parties. I used to do parties for a long time. And used to throw the fire department Christmas party. I've seen you come to the party. I've seen you out in the street. But you come to work for this money and you can't tuck your shirt tail in. And then
mm-hmm,
I'm supposed to go home and tell my family we can't eat this week because I got suspended because you won't tuck your shirt in. I'm like, so if I got to tell you at 21 years old how to wear your uniform, and you know how you're supposed to wear your uniform, when did you miss that? Who raised you? When
right,
did you miss that part?
right,
Showing up on time, being accountable, working while you're there. I mean, you know what I mean? So I've always been fortunate enough, and like I say, man, Big Fred was in my life during that time as my OG. And like I said, man, I've been called dummy so many times. I thought my name was Lamont Sanford and he was Red Fox. You big dummy, what are you thinking, man? Because it's just like somebody has to say that. And that's why, Brandon, man, with you, like you said, you have that opportunity to have these discussions with kids without even them not even knowing that they're having these
right,
discussions. And Big
right,
Jack, you had that discussion earlier that uh, you'll say something and then they'll hear it somewhere else, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Like I've been telling you this for the last X,
Mhm.
Y, and Z."
Right, right.
Your father, my first rent was $295. I didn't know how I was gonna. Man, how am I gonna afford $295 a month rent? he sent me that. This was after my father had already done it and said, "Look, man, you got to tighten up your belt. You got to do this, do that." Fred said, "Look, you big dummy. We leave this. We work before we come to work because we work 2 to 10. We bowl or go to the pool hall every morning. You go into probably 2 or 3 movies with 2 or 3 different, the same movie with 2 or 3 different young ladies. You know, that's your rent right there."
Yeah.
But and it just made sense. But now back to you, Brandon. If you say something to some kids a certain way, because no one has talked to them like that at 10, 12, 16, 18, by the time you talk to them, they thinking you're being disrespectful to them. I'm like, man, look, and I always start with, look, I'm having this conversation with you because somebody thought enough of having it with me. If I'm walking down the street walking my dog past the school and I smell weed and the sign says it's a drug-free zone, what are y'all doing, man?
Right.
You know, somebody, you have to have that conversation. You can't be afraid to have this conversation because parents can parent all they want, but when their kids are out in the street, that's where the lessons are really learned, are really put into action, let's say,
Let,
right or
let,
wrong.
let me say this. Let me
Hmm.
uh today's prime example. Well, today I came home and my youngest boy Judah is negotiating this this summer's prices with grass cutting with the neighbors in the neighborhood, right?
I'm still
So
listening. Go ahead.
so I said so I asked her, I said, so what do you, I mean, is there a price hike or what's going on? And he said, yeah, Dad, with the tariffs and everything's gonna go up. So I gotta increase my prices and everything. And I was like, okay, so let me get this right. You're here, you're doing you're taking domestic because fuel is a domestic product and applying tariff prices to it and taking the prices up on the 10 yards that you cut every year at the same price for the last 3 years. And like, yeah, Dad. And plus, I'm trying to rent your lawnmower from you. And let me tell you what happened. So we have 2 lawnmowers at my house. When I want to cut the grass, I cut the grass I ride with the riding lawnmower. When those jokers cut the grass, they push. So their mom asked me, well, Sean, your sister, Bill, she asked me, well, why can't the boys ride the riding lawnmower to cut the grass? Because it's a pretty big yard. And in the back where it goes down to the water, it's got a slope. And I said, well, I said, number one, you got to understand that I'm a capitalist to the fullest. If they want the riding lawnmower, they will rent it from me. Okay. Other than that, they're gonna push. And plus, they've made enough money with cutting 10 yards in the neighborhood to actually get their own riding lawnmower.
Wow.
So I don't know why they're using the push lawnmower that I charge them $50 to use every time they go cut people grass, and it's been 3 years.
They got to figure it out.
So, well, why don't you tell them? I said, because the pain is within the lesson.
Hey, look,
As
that's a fact.
as pain is increased, you'll know what the lesson is, and you'll then change course to do better or make better.
Hey,
Because
man,
it,
that's a fact.
because it, and this is part of the maturation of a boy into man-like thinking.
That's
With
true.
Yeah.
without and I prefer it being that way because once I got them out of sports, this going back to the sports thing. Once I was uh, able to convince them to move away from sports because it was more Gabriel than it was Judah. Judah was was really wasn't a real big issue because when Judah turned Judah was in little league. Judah was going to be that kid. He was going to be that monster. My son Gabriel. my son Gabriel was we called him being a big nice guy. Judah had the fire of Q, and Judah didn't want to just win. Judah wanted to decimate you
Mm,
and humiliate you and destroy you all at the same time. But Judah developed he started having seizures at age 9. And so at that point, the doctors, we could never get a, the neurologist to release him for his physical to play football
mm,
Mm.
Damn.
because of the seizures. As a matter of fact, he's still taking medication now, because of those seizures.
Damn.
But the fact of the matter is that, uh, uh, you know, uh, uh, you know, we provide a particular lifestyle for our children based on our previous experiences of what we went through, and saying those 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 words of I'm not gonna whatever, fill in the
Yeah.
blank that my brother
Right.
did, but which is okay. But what we do is we lose the discipline and the hard work part of it when you do that, where you just started now you're giving them things and they're not earning
Gotta earn them.
accountable for it, and that boys and makes them soft.
yeah.
Hey man, think
Wait a
about
minute.
it.
Wait a minute. Wait a
A
minute.
color
Let
T.
me
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Mhm.
let me hit this chat right here because you got Desi in. Desi's definitely been pitching in. Ellison Door Endeavors. Thank you for being here, Morgan. Yancey. If y'all was here, if y'all even checked in last night, we did. Shopping and Iron had a special show with Dapper PH
I heard that for PH.
and Yancey was one of the performers that came on last night. And so thank you for being here. Dapper PH came through the chat today, and they're here and they were listening in the back. So keep going up real quick to make sure we hit everybody. Shoot. I know Sharon Jackson was here. Anthony Montime was here. Krista Flash was here. Denise Jackson was here. The Heavy Hitters Band was in here today. And make sure I don't miss anybody. The Gen X Effect vibing with BC and A.R. Morgan. All of them was here today. And we just want to thank everybody who helped
Sure.
and came in. And Brandon, I don't know if we holding you up because we could talk, man. I don't know if we holding you up because Brandon was the guest on the show and we don't want
I
to
got a
hold
question
Brandon
for
up.
Brandon though. I have a
Okay,
question for Brandon.
reach out to Brandon. Go ahead, Brandon.
So Brandon, man, when I came on, you said something, man. This is what I bro. Let me say, I admire your hustle and I admire your grind. When they ask you to define yourself at the beginning of the show, you said, "I'm a hustler, I'm a grinder, I'm a God fearing man, and then I'm a father of five." And that right there is a reason to hustle for sure.
Yeah.
I know. Same with you, Q. Same with you, Big Jack. I have one daughter and she's grown. But hey, man, one thing we all know is kids will emulate their parents.
Oh yeah.
So when they see you doing things, and it's kind of like, man, like Q, you had a hammer in your kids early, in a hammer in their hands early, probably. Brandon, I don't know if your kids they come to the shop, they see you cutting hair, they see what you do, they see you coaching, they see your talent. So to my point, how much of that, man, do they look at you and say, "Hey, man, I think I want to do that," or "Let me try that," and then you teach them, because think about it, man, that talent, that's a skill set uh, that you two guys especially, because Bill and I work for companies, but you two guys have a skill set that you can wake up Saturday morning and go out and write a check. And that's a great thing, man. So do your kids, have they, especially your oldest ones, have they realized how lucky they are to see their fathers getting up, getting it done every weekend, every week, and all that, man? What's your take on that, Brandon?
To be honest, I don't think they really think about it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay.
I do let them know though. For sure, I'm like, man, especially when they're competing and we got to travel
Mhm.
to play sports, I'm letting them know for sure right there.
How much
Like,
has
bro,
to
you
get done?
got all week to come to this game to see you not run up and down the court with it. Like, so, like, in those moments, I'm really leaning on them. Like, bro, I ain't work all week to come to your game for you to score 0 points. You know what I'm saying? So, in that regard, but as far as them seeing me as a man that's working every day, I don't know if they think about it, but I do mention it to them too. Like, I want them to understand, like, bro, I didn't go to college for, I didn't finish college. I didn't do X, Y, and Z. But you see what I was able to do by just tap locking in to da da da.
Hmm.
I don't have a boss that in this time. So I do in some ways randomly I just walk up to them and be like, hey man, you know, you could be whatever you want to be, man. I want you to put your mindset into thinking whatever you want in this world you could have. And so I'm always telling them, I'm always reiterating to them what the possibility is that's not traditional, but they gotta work hard as a mug to get whatever they want. So it's like it's never one without the other with me. It's hard
But
work to ever tell them.
here's the thing that a lot of kids miss, because I still hear people saying we all have heard this, and my answer is always the same. The guy who comes to the job, Jack, is showing up late, this, that, young kids, not responsible, not on time, and then will have the audacity to say out his mouth, I'm gonna work for myself. I'm gonna have my own business. You do not work hard enough to work for yourself.
Well, I
My
said
wife
it.
is self-employed. Man, shout out to the entrepreneurs of the world, baby. I
But I'm
mean,
about to
shout out to
say,
the
I need to
entrepreneurs,
do it
man.
or a baby or the that's for any man because I think that even the men I talk to in my chair or just
Mhm.
my friends that I converse with, all I just don't think they understand how tough it is to
How
be an
tough it
entrepreneur.
is.
I'm
Yeah,
like, bro, if anybody could do it, anybody would do it. But
right.
it's mad hard because it's all on your shoulders. When it's a different, when it's all on you, especially me. My wife hasn't worked in some years, so
Hmm.
everything is off my back, and that's very. It can be stressful, but it's also like fulfilling though. So I
Because you
want them
got
to
to
see
do
the
with your kids.
fulfillment in the spot. Go ahead,
I'm
go
I
ahead.
know
calling
what you ready to
timeout. I'm
say.
calling
I know what you ready to
timeout.
say. No,
I'm calling
she
timeout.
hasn't had a formal job in a
Right,
while.
because she
Oh,
got
she
five
working.
boys. She
She's
got five
working.
Yeah,
boys.
yeah.
Man.
Hey, Brandon, I'm just trying to save you. He's trying to
I'm just
save you. I
But
know
now,
what you were going.
because I ain't now I see they gonna say, see. No, hold on, Jazz. If you listen to this, they ain't what I meant, babe. Now,
Oh man. Hey, look. I'm
now
sitting there
hold on.
saying,
I will say
oh
this.
boy. I'm sitting there saying,
No, hold
oh
on.
boy.
I
I,
mean, they ain't what I meant. Now, as a
I know
young
what
man,
you meant.
though,
I
as a
know what
young
you meant.
man, like now I'm in my mid 30s, but in
Right,
my
right,
mid
right.
late 20s,
Oh
I
man.
was like that though. I was like,
Uh,
man, you ain't, because you don't, because I was younger, I didn't
bro,
understand like, no, it's a lot of work to maintain the house.
as your
That
attorney,
type
don't
of way,
ever
because
say that in public again. You understand me?
yeah, no, that's what me. Ain't what I meant. Because
But hey,
what I realized too, especially as I keep getting older and older, is time is really everything. You know what I'm
Uh,
right,
saying? So
right.
it's like the amount of time that I'm able to operate my business, the amount of time I'm able to do X, Y, and Z is only because
Um,
she's able to take
you
care of.
know,
There's so many things that she do that I don't have the patience for. So when our house want to flow smooth, so yeah, so I've been got away from that. And look, there you got me.
no,
If you listen,
no.
now
You
hold
said it. You said it a few times earlier. That's why it's funny, because
on.
it's funny only because a few times earlier you said how much you and your wife worked together to make this happen. And Big Jack, you acknowledged that. So when he said it, I'm just saying, man, anybody signing in is gonna be like, is probably
I know.
losing their minds right now. But
Dang.
you definitely, man, let me tell you something. If you don't, and I'm not even gonna say you, anyone who doesn't think that's a job, hey man, go out, both of you guys go out to work and try to pay child care and see how much you might really earn. I mean, you're hustling backwards almost.
You hustling
So your
backwards.
your 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 philosophy, your wife. I mean, I know you know this, and I'm just saying this for because I love to have this conversation when the guy said, "Man, I've been working." And shit. I'm like, whoa, easy, champ, easy.
yeah.
I
Easy.
know that you because you said it, but man, you got a heck of a program to raise five boys,
Sir. Yes, sir.
bro, and five boys, man, you and your wife, man, and like you say, man, I mean, like, and then she's getting outvoted on everything. And then I mean, just the little simple things in life, like if I come home one more time and this toilet seat is up, everybody's gonna punish me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And what?
So, hey, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. But when you said it, I'm just like I like the hustle because I've always had side hustles, but I've always had a permanent job.
Yeah.
So I've driven a limo, I promoted parties, I promoted small concerts, trips, the whole 9 yards. But I always was able to fall back on my regular job. But I came up with some guys. who have clubs that are well, the same clubs are not still open, but they still own clubs in DC right now. We all came up, started out at the same time, and I admired their hustle because I had that safety net, so I probably didn't hustle as much as I should have because I knew I needed to get up and go to work. I knew I can't stay out till 2, 3 in the morning every night coming out the club. I knew I couldn't do that. So my cousins who have hair salons and barbershops and all that, man, when I look at a guy like you, I see your energy. You have locked into your why. And your why is your five boys, your family, your five boys, and your wife and kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go through a whole lifetime without a why that would make them cry, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so when I see somebody that has that why, man, I mean, I just love your energy. And it's like, man, you're gonna make it happen, and then you do things that you still enjoy doing, and you're able to monetize them. Just like Jack on his YouTube channel, one day he might be young, but he does this for fun. And if he gets, like I say, if they send him a check, he'll cash it. And Q, you know, you told me your story, man, with your business stuff, man. I mean, that's a heck of a thing. I have a lot. My wife is self-employed. I have a lot of respect for people self-employed. So when somebody says to me, "Oh man, I'm gonna work for myself," no, you don't. No,
It,
you don't. It's
it's
kind of like when somebody says, "Man, you shoot like a girl," yeah, and the WNBA is probably going to sue you on that one too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, hey, man, that's I'm proud of you, bro. I bet that's a hustle, man. That's a
Hey,
grind.
hey,
So,
I listen from it's a difference. It's a difference because you're first in, last out every day.
Yeah, yeah,
You put the most in, you got the most skin in the
yeah,
game. And
yeah,
for Brandon, I respect your hustle, brother. See, it's different for me and Brandon for see as an entrepreneur in America, I don't think it's all that bad. I don't think it's that difficult of a task. But when you're someone like Brandon and myself who are entrepreneurs, it's a lot different. The circumstances around it is different and more difficult, and to scale the levels of of discrimination and I'm not both ways.
And I think of that, and the entrepreneurial part could go another way because it's like, even some, spiritually, like biblically, like our people perish for the lack of knowledge. So
Woo!
if we come from a lot of positions and situations where we get the knowledge late, and
Yeah,
I like this one quote I was watching. I don't know, but he was saying most black men, we're not looking for a handout. You know what I mean? We're really not. You know what I'm saying? We just looking for the knowledge on how to get it. You know what
that's
I'm saying? We gonna work. You know what I'm
that's right.
saying? I don't know much black men that's themselves on welfare and all this other stuff. Most men that I know, they trying to hustle, they trying to get it, but our people perish for a lack of knowledge, and then we conditioned to a certain way. So the entrepreneurial part can cut a little deeper because it's your conditioning mixed with your knowledge, and you got. I gained it a little in my mid-20s, and I was just thirsty for it though too. But once I got it, I'm like, okay, bet. Now I'm teaching everybody I get in contact with, like, nah, this is what you can do. Oh, I know a guy that can get here. And most of my people
Yeah,
that I network with, they happy as a mud to go tap into whatever we just networked about.
yep.
So
But here's the part though. This is the part where I admire you guys because if you have an art, a skill, is be most people want to do that thing that they love to do. But then you also have to tie yourself down with paying your taxes,
Oh yeah.
putting money in your 401k, having money for down the road, having health insurance, which I know is not an easy task with health insurance. You know what I mean? So I mean, so if you're self-employed, you know, so I mean that part right there, especially, man. I mean, like people see the money. Like I would throw an event, people come in, they count their heads, how many people in there, how much you charge. Oh man, they made a ton, but nobody thinks about all those other things, you know, that you have to take care of to get to that point. And then you need to make sure your people are coming back. You need good barbers in your shop. You need good laborers. So hey man, you know, you don't just say I'm gonna set up this thing and then it's just that thing. You know, you may not even show a profit right away. And then
Yeah.
guess what, man? Some days you want to take off, you can't come to work and do the minimum daily requirement.
Oh,
You can't do the MDR, and your sons while they yours are a little older than his, Q, your sons probably see it just like you saw what your father had to go through. Bro,
Yeah.
one day that light bulb is gonna go off if it hasn't already. They're gonna be like, wow. Because I couldn't understand how my mother even made it, man. When I got my first apartment, I'm like, how in the world? I like, how did you do this? I'm like, how? How was this possible? So hey man, and when I left the one business and got a job on the fire department, I thought I hit the lottery, man.
Well, look,
I thought I hit the
the thing is, and Walt, you hit it on the nail. I mean, you hit the head on,
Mhm. I
hit the
got nail on
nail
the
on the
head.
head with the
Hmm.
hammer for sure. But the big thing is a lot of times in all of our stories we came up, and like I say, in the lack of knowledge, and Brandon, you was right on with that. And it is different for African Americans or any minority trying to get, they got a lot of things in place to try to help you. But and if we listen to the story throughout this whole conversation today, you had to dig your way out. You had to get yourself
Yeah.
to the level, and
Yeah.
now you have the opportunity to share that knowledge with your sons so that they don't have to go through what you went through. You know what I'm saying? You want them to have the heart. You want them to have, don't give it to them, but at the same time, it's like I should be pointing or giving you this information. A lot of times we try to hold it no different than what you said, Walt, about how am I just hearing about this cheerleading thing? Because some stories we just don't share. And
Yeah.
that we talked about that
Yeah.
before. We just don't share. And we hold back on financial advice, we hold back on
Yeah,
health advice, we
That's
yeah,
hold back and some of the things that we need to be sharing this information with, we need to be telling more people about it because it's only going to make you a better person. It's going to give you though, you don't have to be you don't have to go through the situation to know that
right.
the
No,
situation
right.
is real. So, and that's where a lot of times they're like, well, they need to do it themselves, and that's how they're gonna get tough. No, you can tell me about it, and I can understand it to a point. If
yeah.
you show me, the thing is, you can give me a fish, and I'll eat
Woo.
that one day.
Yes,
But if
sir.
you teach me how to fish, then I can fish. I can live forever. You know what I'm
Come on,
saying? I'll eat
boy.
every day if you teach me how to fish. And a lot of times we don't teach how to fish. Go ahead, Walt. I see you.
Today I saw a guy coming out of the library. I was on my way home. I saw a guy coming out of the library, and I'm guessing these were his grandkids, three young ladies, and I'm guessing these were his grandkids because he's probably my age, or maybe even older. So I'm sure they weren't his kids, if I can make an assumption there. But think about it, man. How many kids can't go into the library? I mean, we had to what to do. I mean, we had to go in the card catalog, figure it out, right? You rent you. I mean, even something as simple as renting a library book. As a kid, the life lesson was the last thing you wanted to do was return that book late. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, in matter of fact, one of my jokes with my friends, he just got into the oh 3 4 years ago. He got into the and he's older than me. Got into the Hall of Fame at one of the at Bowie State. He was a football player, got into the Hall of Fame. I said, man, if you had just paid for that library book 50 years ago, you would have been in. You know what I mean? But little stuff like that, and that's stuff that we take for granted. A telephone, driving a stick shift. Oh man, you want key? Hey man, look, you leave your car open, leave the keys in it, just with a stick, man. Come on, who can
Yeah.
steal your car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, they
then
said
my
that.
first car was a stick.
Yeah.
Just little stuff like that. So stuff we take for granted. Reading a book, reading the newspaper. I don't read as many newspapers as I used to. I read them online. Get a lot of stuff offline. But there was a time when you would read in my case, the Washington Post. If I had a paper route, I was the Times guy, which was the Evening Star. Started out as the Evening Star in the buying up by the Times. But my buddy had the Washington Post. And man, you know, you collecting money and you can't spend it as you collect it because you still have a bill due,
Hmm.
right? So that taught you how to budget your money.
Right.
You show up on the weekend without somebody's TV guide, they will lose their mind.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you see what I'm saying? And then you think you cutting corners, and then you got to go back out because your rep will call you, and you got to go back out. And I'm not trying to sound like the old guy, but those little things taught us a lot of lessons, man. But
Yes.
now we live in a society where you can get online,
Hmm.
you can be somebody else,
Yes.
you can tell lies that aren't true. We
Yes.
have more access to information than ever before. but people will go with the information that they get the most, that gets the most likes and shares,
Yep.
as opposed to at least cross referencing the facts.
Yep.
So that's what we are, man. And like I said, that's a lost art. Like back in the day, math, show your work. I know
Yeah.
you got the answer, but
Yes.
show your work, right? And now we're having people having problems with their kids. Well, why can't my son bring his phone to school? And I'm like, okay, he's in school, so you know he's safe. Well, what if I need to contact him? He's in school, so you know he's safe. So why does he need his phone with him during the day? And I know I'm the old guy here, but that's just my thing. So at
I
what
agree.
point, are you gonna get up to the chalkboard and have to answer a question? At what point are you on the basketball court and the big boys come down the court, you know, and what you supposed to do? You're supposed to get out of the way.
Right.
Because if you don't, they're gonna warn you once, and next time your ball is going over the fence, right? And
Yep.
you might get a foot up to the butt. You know what I mean? That's just what it was. And when your big brother comes down the court, hey man, he was in the way. You know how this goes. You
Yep.
see what I'm saying? But in today's time, he was in the way. You know how it goes. All right, man. Okay, okay, Big Jack, man. I'm sorry, man. All right, we got you. Don't put your hands on my little brother anymore. All right, Big Jack, we good. And
Mm-hmm.
then your little brother is now, yeah, and don't make us come back, right?
Yep.
Because he feels like he got away with something. Now, in my day, the big brother would turn around and kick the little brother up the behind. Because
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even be in this situation.
Right. Yeah.
But that lesson, man, that's a lesson. That's a life lesson, man. That you
So,
there's consequences to your actions. And I don't think they're getting that, man. And then you
what
talk about the kid, I'm getting bullied online, just cut your computer off. Block
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Some
and
little
it,
stuff like that. Yeah.
and I know. I mean, it's different. It is a different world for sure. And look, and I'm getting beat up over here in the chat
Uh-oh.
because my mom's still on here. She like, I
Oh
tried to
boy.
tell you, but you wouldn't listen. So now your boy's telling you.
Hey, hey, look, we got him, Ma. We got him. Yeah. Hey,
So
look, he
yeah,
was
yeah,
listening. You were listening,
yeah.
man. You
No,
were
I
listening.
wasn't listening. I wasn't listening.
Hey,
I
man.
know. I know I was hard headed. I was hard. Look, you know what stopped? And again, we started this with sports. So what stopped me from acting up is when she said I couldn't play.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather like give me the whooping.
Yeah.
Give me the whooping. When she
That's
said,
too
no,
easy.
you can't play in today's game, like what?
What? Yeah,
What do you mean I can't play today?
Yeah, that's too easy.
Yeah, and that was a big turnaround right there. So you got to
Absolutely.
take away what they're really, really passionate about. But when you was talking about some of the things, the newspaper and stuff like that,
Mhm.
I was sitting there, Walt, I'm sitting there thinking cursive.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Your
Yeah.
man.
kids just signing their own name on a check or whatever when they get older on a contract. It's gone. It's gone for sure. So yeah. So let me acknowledge the people here. Brandon, we went way over time on our after show, and I appreciate you hanging with us, man. I know you're a working man. I don't want to take. I know Q's a working man. Walt, you retired, but you probably got a round playing for tomorrow because it's
No,
beautiful
man.
outside.
Going to the dentist tomorrow, man. Old
Oh,
man
okay,
stuff.
all right.
Old man stuff.
So
Doctor's appointments or the golf course. One of the two, man.
one of the two. So the Aquatic News Effect is still network is still out there, and I appreciate Sharon Jackson still getting on my case even at 54 years old.
That's right.
But I
That's
love her.
right.
That's my mama. I
That's right.
love her.
That's right.
Ellis Endeavor, thank you. Els Endeavor, thank you for being in here and participating in the chat for sure. Going through Roxy PH stop through, and that's another person from the Philippines that's coming over, and we thank them for coming over and being in part of the show. We appreciate them coming over. So I want to recognize them for sure. Desi for being in the house and participating. Morgan, Janice, I want to say it right. Jancy. Yeah, there you go. I'll make sure. Dapper PH, and thank you for coming in. And everybody that's been here, appreciate you. This is the Iron Sharpening Iron. The after show, we got Brandon Underwood. He's my barber, but also he's a father of five, a coach, a man of God, a husband of one, and all that. So, but look, check it out. He's in a pool league, so he shoots pool in a league.
Yeah, see what I
Oh.
mean? That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
so that's what I
That
said.
part
Don't
right
let
there.
him.
You
Don't let
trying
him
to
fool
set
you.
me up. Hey, man,
Yeah,
I
that's what I
already know.
said. Don't let him
Already
fool
know.
you. So every
Look,
look,
man, I already
his
know.
barbershop. Look, the barbershop got a pool table in it.
There
So
you
you
go.
already know. You already know. So you walk in
Where's
there.
your shop, Brandon?
It's in Frederick, Maryland, downtown.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, my man. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah, but
hey,
he hosts a couple of
that's
tournaments.
last night, Big Jack. We punished them peoples. We punished them. We number one too. We number one. We still
Yeah.
number one.
So he has a team that shoot pool in the league, and they didn't
Yeah.
went into this league and took over the dang league and pissing all these people off. So you know how that goes. So
Man,
Hey
that's the
man,
competitive spirit.
that's the
hey,
competitive spirit, man. Yeah.
shout out to barbers across the nation, man. My nephew, Rasan, he's a barber. Shout out to the Chop Shop in Suffolk, Virginia, where they got a pool table and cornhole. You can do both right there at the barber shop, and it's super competitive. So I don't know what you barbers got going on with this pool table and cornhole, man. But y'all guys, man,
Pool table is just like a perfect little piece for any situation. If you watch any classic movie, it's always got a good scene in there. A pool table is
Two pool
somewhere in
tables.
that scene. I'm telling you, the
Hey
pool.
man, let me tell you how long I've been out the barbershop game. Other than going, like if I'm got a special event, I might go get a trim up here, make sure I'm straight. But let me tell you how far I am out of the barbershop game. I stopped going to the barbershop when you could just go in and you wouldn't have to worry about the guy coming behind you that had the appointment. And you just go to the barbershop. You just show up. Like, you go to the restaurant right now, you go to the fast food, not the fast food joint, but you go to the local dive, right? Especially like, okay, everybody's looking for ropes and lines and stuff. I'm like, no, it's the barbershop rules. You know who came in, who was here when you walked in the door, and you know who came in behind you. So that's how the line is moving, right?
No way.
No way. But man, now, hey man, you go to the barbershop, man, it costs money, man. I'm like, good God, man. And I get it.
yeah.
I understand. They got the fancy spray bottle and the wheel with the lights on it and
Oh yeah,
oh man, all that stuff, man. I'm like, okay.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
enjoy going to the barbershop because you meet all kinds of people, all kind of all differences of opinions, man, from all
yeah,
walks of life, and it's
Oh
just
yeah.
it's pretty cool. And that's the one thing I miss about working in the firehouse. You get that amalgamation of people, man, with these different opinions and different outlooks, and then nobody, trust me, bro, if you have a theory and you come in there with low calorie logic, nobody will check you quicker than the barbershop.
oh,
Yeah,
oh
we
yes,
you know,
sir.
yeah,
we
you come in there with that low calorie logic, man, like what? Like, where,
you,
hey man,
man.
who? Yeah, so that's a good thing, man. So,
Look,
like I said, you got the cheat code, man. You definitely have
yeah.
the cheat code.
Here's the thing, though.
Mhm.
2 weeks in, you gotta have the appointments are 2 weeks out, so you ain't getting nothing within two
Did I lose
weeks.
everybody?
So
No, we
nah,
got
you
you.
still there, kid. We got you. Like they're 2 weeks out, so if you ain't in that 2 week window, you ain't getting nothing. And the other part is you don't know who's sitting in the chair, who's sitting around the chairs. So if you come in there with your lies and these stories, you could be talking to the next whatever. So you gotta watch what you say. So don't
Hey
come
man,
in there with that mess about you did this and that and that because you don't know who's sitting in that chair.
but
So or sitting around the chair.
think
I,
about kids, man. That's a great lesson. Walking into the room, we all from the era where you walk into the room. What do? You speak.
Mm.
You walk into a room of people. You speak. You acknowledge the people who are there. That's just the way I was raised. I mean, I'm right. So, you walk into the barbershop and think about kids. It's like, hey man, you walk into the barbershop, the kids, you start learning at an early age how to stand your ground, how to defend yourself verbally. You know what I mean? How to voice your opinion. Have these conversations, and most kids, even if they're just ear hustling, they can learn a lot, man. You can learn a lot. So that's that. He's coming back. There you go. Got you. He doesn't see us. He has his mic
Yeah,
muted.
yeah, simple.
Okay. Yeah, but little stuff like that, man. So that's a great thing, man. That's pretty cool. And not to
Yeah.
talk about the sports arguments and all that. I'm sure the great discussions, the great debates on sports,
Oh
great
yeah,
sport debates.
especially this time of year with March
Yeah,
Madness going on or football season or any season because
yeah,
it's yeah that's the barbershop. So Elevated Einstein is out there. And we just want to thank him. L's Endeavor, thank you. Nisi Jackson still out there, and thank you Nisi. Aquatic News Network, and he said a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff has been said. So
mm.
I was putting it up on the screen, some
I'm
of it
seeing it.
because
Yeah, some good
yeah.
stuff. I
So he
was
put a
seeing.
lot
Yeah,
in the chat. So I
yeah,
thank you for one of the things I think he hit on was I don't know if I caught it or not, but he was talking about kids working, and another one was starting at a car dealership,
Car dealership.
so
I
trying
saw
to
that. Yeah.
sell cars,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that would be a good way for them to learn lessons because you got to
Right.
hit those quotas, and you got to
That's right.
show courtesy and all of those other things. So
That's
it's
right.
just I can't remember my first. Oh, there it is right there. So what are you talking about? Being a car salesman, but yeah, I know. I remember my first job. I remember my first real job, and I say a real job is where I had to pay taxes and all that stuff on it.
Hmm.
And it was working for a car dealership, but not as a salesman, but as a
Hmm.
porter. And
Right.
that's how I learned how to drive a stick. Because if you're like, you know how to drive a stick, yeah, I ain't know how to drive a stick. So then the first
Bunny
truckload
hop.
come in. Yeah, first truckload come in, and that's when Toyota used to have. They got the Subarus and all that, and I'm tearing them cars up trying to get them parked. So, but it's all good. I learned how to drive a stick fast. So, but I'm definitely super excited about you guys being here and being on the stage. This was the Iron Sharpening Iron show. We had Brandon Underwood on, and don't want to take all this time. I know he got a lot to do. Giving us this time, Brandon, has been a really, really good conversation. Um, uh, uh,
We've been
I
trying to
mean,
get. We've been trying to link up. We finally made it.
we finally did it, man. Finally got on here.
Yeah.
Look, I know where to go to get a good conversation from you,
There
but
you
it's
go.
just it's just the
Share it
fact I
with the
wanted the
world.
world to see him. So Brandon has a YouTube show. So Brandon is
Okay.
he has his own YouTube channel, and so I want to make sure that we recognize Brandon in his channel. And I'm not sure what's the channel called, Brandon?
It's called A Different Blend. A
Okay,
Different Blend on IG, Facebook, and YouTube. A Different
okay,
Blend.
it's a different blend.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie though. My show is a little more, vulgar than this. It's not too crazy, but it's a few more words being thrown in that's less uh Christian. So now it's
It's more in tune with the
still a
barbershop.
good time. It's not too raunchy. It's just we might use a little more colorful words. That's it.
Hey, let me. I'm gonna let you guys go. I know you're gonna close off, Jack. Let me say one thing to your audience real quick, man, if I can.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Walt.
It's daylight. The time has just changed. Don't forget to change the batteries in your smoke detectors. That's my PSA for today. Don't forget to change your batteries in your smoke detectors. When you change your clocks, change your batteries. If your smoke detector is 5 to 7 years old, it may be time to replace it. Also, make sure you have a CO detector at the top of your basement stairs. If you have gas appliances, if you have electricity, it's not a big deal. But if you have gas appliances, a furnace, top of your basement stairs, make sure you have a CO detector. Those are the things that save lives because, especially now, by you not using the furnace as much, you still have a pallet that's going. You know what I mean? And we in and out of the house and all that, man. But still, people just forget about those things. So just change your batteries in your smoke detectors. Get your CO detectors, man, and everybody be safe. Hey, Brandon, bro, it's been a pleasure, man. I
Yes,
mean, when
sir.
I come down there and see Big Jack, man, I'm to come check you out,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah,
see
yeah.
your, I see the shop. That's your name of your shop too, and I'll
Yep.
check you out on Instagram, my man.
Yep.
And yeah, hopefully, man, I can take some of that colorful language, man, because me being a naive country boy, I don't know if I can get it, man.
No, it ain't.
Look,
I'm just
It's
messing with you, bro. I'm
nah.
just messing with you. Yeah,
not
I'm
too
just
close.
messing with
But
you. Yeah.
look, he knows. Look, I told him it's a family
Uh,
friend show. So
oh, he been good, man.
he did a
Yeah.
real good job.
Yeah, he
But
did,
look,
man.
check
He
it
got
out.
5 kids, man. He knows how to govern it.
I'm versatile.
He,
I ain't just.
hey,
You know what I'm saying?
you have 5 kids, man. You know how to govern yourself accordingly, man. I'm
Yeah.
already, I'm already well aware of that, man. So,
Look,
hey,
and
man, that's
if
cool.
anybody's out there in the chat that's still listening and want to know who is this Walt guy and why he telling me to change my batteries and this and that,
Oh Lord,
Walt
man, I'm
is a
sorry.
retired fire captain, so he knows exactly what he's talking about, and
I'm
I'm
just
sure he's been
stating.
to many homes where if they had just installed or changed that battery, we might not be in the situation they're in right now. So
Yeah, and I say that
um,
with all due respect and all due concern, all due respect. So whoever it is, I hope it didn't step on any toes, but maybe they're just trying to figure it out. But trust me, you'd be surprised. I mean, because you see the news. Anytime you see the news and it was a fire fatality, and then you start seeing the return to the scene, right? The local fire department, 3 people died in the fire today, and the local fire department returned to the scene, walking the block, giving out smoke detectors. We keep smoke detectors on the fire trucks every time I go into your house, if I don't, and batteries, if I don't hear, if I don't see, sometimes we'll test it while we're just on a medical call. And I make it say, I'm out the game now. But those, hey man, when you don't need it, that's the time to do it. And that's the time to do it. And the irony is, a lot of people, man, with these cathedral ceilings, you know, when they built these things, they didn't think about ever changing the battery, man. So you need a ladder or a scaffolding to get to some of them, you know, which is a whole nother conversation, man. So, hey, man, smoke detectors save lives, and that's my PSA for today. I mean, you got access to this many people. It's the daylight savings time. I just thought I'd mention it. So I
And
appreciate that,
Patty
man.
and Patty put in the chat that could save not just human lives but animal lives as
Oh,
well.
hey, look, I
So
rescued
yeah,
a few cats and dogs, and trust me, they will meet you at the door if they can get out of there. They're trying their best to get out of there,
right,
you
right,
know.
right.
And unfortunately, you know, sometimes it's cats and dogs. Hey, man, I've seen the rats and roaches try to get out of there too. So, you
Hey,
know,
hot.
hey,
The
man, that
fire is hot.
price is, yeah, and that
Fire is
smoke is a
hot.
killer, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Get out that heat. You know, they
you
say
get
if you
out that
can't
heat,
stand the
man.
heat,
Can't stand to get out there.
get out that kitchen,
Exactly,
bro.
man. So tell
So
Patty thank you for that. Yeah, for sure.
no, but Walt, thank you for putting that out there, and that we can always learn, and that's what it's all about. It's not about, we had a good time. We talked about a lot of good things, but at the same time, that's definitely a good point to bring across, and I appreciate you, and thank you
Hey,
for always coming on the after show and hanging out with us. You always bring a good flavor to the show,
hey man, you
and
know, two
I just
cents.
want
You
to
got
say
about a
thank
cent
you.
and a half, about 2 cents, man. You know, just 2 cents, man. You know.
Hey, me and you together, we got a nickel, so
You
we good
know,
to
and
go,
man,
bro.
hey, look, man, you gotta get somebody in there with a different opinion. It's not always low. There's not always high calorie logic, but I mean, I do my best. I
Well,
do
like you
my
tell me,
best.
I'm all shucks, so you gotta have
Yeah,
somebody in
yeah,
there.
hey, man, yeah,
If I'm all
you.
shucks, I need somebody
Hey,
with
look,
the other side of it,
hey,
right?
basically for the, I'm your hype man,
Yeah,
man,
it
because I'm
is.
like,
That's it.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I'm
it.
like,
That's
hey,
it.
man, you know, it's like that's the nicest guy you ever gonna come across. Hey, I just, bro, I respect you, man. When you told me you were doing, I said, any way I can support you, I'm here. So thank you
No,
for
and I
what you do,
appreciate that.
man.
Look,
Brandon, man, I'm gonna check you out, man. I'm sure that's a lot of work, man. Man, hey, bro, you a hustle man too, man. You, good God, man. I mean, like, you. So how long is your show? An hour?
you talking about
My
your brain?
hour. But
Okay.
when I top it up after editing, it's probably like a good 30 minutes. 30
So
minutes.
what days does? Oh, so you okay? So you don't go live?
I don't go live, not yet. Not like Big
Gotcha.
Jack.
Okay, gotcha. That's what I'm learning this YouTube game. Okay, so you chop up your videos and stuff and go do your thing. My
But look,
man.
well, he's high tech, man. He got cameramen and all that stuff. I ain't got
Oh
all
man,
that.
man, of
I ain't
course
there.
he does, man. Like I said, he's a barber, man. So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
all
yeah.
come in, you know. So do you shoot it at the shop?
Yeah, yeah. We got a nice little setup.
Kind of
Like,
like LeBron and them, and kind of like that, and like my man,
yeah,
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 that's good stuff, man. Because that's a great set.
yeah.
Yeah, my man. Okay, so that's good stuff, man.
No, so
That's
no, he's
great.
what's up. He's what's up, and I'm glad to get him on here. So, Brandon, I want to see if you got anything
I'm gonna
that
check
you
out,
would.
guys. No,
I
I'm
see
gonna
you,
listen to
Walt.
Brandon. I'm gonna listen to
No,
Brandon. I'm gonna
yeah,
listen
well,
online. I'm gonna listen
no, I
online.
got you. I got you.
Okay, take care,
So,
Brandon.
Yes, sir.
so Brandon, I'm gonna turn the stage over to you. You're gonna close us out. If you got anything you want to say, you want to bring it out. I'm gonna hype yourself up, hype up your business, and any advice you got to give as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a husband, as a man of God. Let us have it, and we're gonna close out the show.
I guess consistency, man. Consistency. Stay consistent. You can get an LLC, but it don't come with hard work. It don't come with dedication. So you just gotta stay locked in. Also, I guess a shout out a different blend. Shout out a different blend, the shop, the merch, everything we're doing over there. Shout out my wife. I had a faux pas earlier because she said she don't work. She voluntarily resigned from her position to stay home and take on a different job, which is managing and taking care of the house and keeping me coordinated and keeping me blessed. Actually, the prayers and the love and the everything you can ask for. So I definitely got to shout her out again. And thanks to Big Jack, he's put me on game. Shout out Big Jack, put me on game with the social media and the to cut a few steps that can. I don't have to keep hitting my head on trying to figure this thing out. I got Big Jack for that. Big Jack. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, man.
All right, so thank you, Brandon. Iron Sharpening Iron show. Thank you, everybody that was in the chat. Thank you all for staying with us all night or through this show. And those who was here last night as well. We had a late show. I just want to thank you all because this has been a true blessing to go back-to-back nights. Again, Sharon Jackson, thank you. And good night, Denise. Nisi Jackson, thank you. Good night, Desi. Thank you. Patty, thank you. The Aquatic News Network, thank you. Elevated Einstein, thank you. Ellis Endeavors, thank you. Keep going up and make sure I will hit everybody if I can. I know my time was in here, and thank you. Walt, thank you for coming through. Q Barnes, thank you for coming through. Roxy PH, thank you for coming through. And I'm still going. Desi, thank you for coming through. Morgan, thank you. Janice, I want to say, I won't get it right. Dapper PH, thank you. Els, thank you for coming in. And we're still going up there, creating change. We want to thank you and everyone. If I didn't say you, Vibing with VC, we thank you for everyone and everyone. Again, thank you for coming on the Iron Sharpening Iron show. It's because of you that we are able to do this thing. I want to let you know we did create a new community. So it is the Grow and Glow community. And I wanted to share the logo for that community. It's a hashtag Grow and Glow, and I'll put that in the chat. If you can hit that anytime you watch a video or drop that sometimes. So it's hashtag Grow and Glow. And I'm going to put it in there real quick, and hopefully you can see Grow and Glow together. So that's the hashtag Grow and Glow together. It's the community that I have, and I want to each and every person out there to definitely make sure that they hit that and we can all grow, because if each one can reach one, we all can grow and glow. So I'm going to drop this logo, and I want you to see it because I'm super excited about it, and that is the logo. Logo is that right there, and for all of you that's been here, I truly appreciate you. I would say God bless and good night, and we talk to you the next time.